When you make a game for the next generation of consoles, they're supposed to feel bigger. And by all accounts, the next installment of the WWE 2K series was going to look like the future of the series. It was the most realistic looking game in WWE series of all time. But the problem is that realism came with a cost. And that cost was less content. This is WWE 2K15. The perfect example of the price of realism. And I appreciate Sarah and Mustafa already being here. I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was going to be a few minutes late because I haven't touched my Xbox in like over Xbox One in over a month. So I had to update. And I was like literally 2 minutes before I came live, it finally updated. I was able to boot up the game and we were all good. So I appreciate you guys being here. Which game is your favorite showcase? Of all time, showcase is this game. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah, I know there's a bunch of 2K15 is polarizing for a lot of reasons, and we're going to get into that. What's up? 2K, yeah, 15 is. I mean, it's for what it is. Here's the thing. I will never. We're gonna get into it. They removed Hogan DLC. Still unbelievable. We're gonna talk about everything. We are gonna talk. I already had a segment specifically for him where we're gonna talk about it all. We will leave no stone unturned when it comes to this game. So actually, right off the bat, I think the best place to start before we even show any gameplay is funny thing. 'Cause I knew I wasn't tripping. So fun fact, probably not a lot of you guys probably know. I actually was briefly in the National Guard for some time, and while I was away, my brother was telling me about the 2K15 news that was coming out. Because at the time when you're in basic training, you're cut off from the internet. I know nothing, so I only heard what my brother was telling me. And then they did this interview in the summer of 2014 that I never personally saw, but I was able to look it up now, and we're going to look at it right here. So this was this fan, I mean, probably maybe you guys seen it before, but I've never saw it. But I'm bringing it up because it's very telling what this interview is. It's basically a fan interview from Visual Concepts, which we will get into. They were responding to your fan feedback. It was the best Hogan model in my opinion, and his atomic lay dry animation was awesome and never came back. But don't worry, I mean, for you guys in this presentation, I do have the Hogan DLC because I was smart enough to buy it before what went down, which we'll talk about. Did you hear that the New Day departed from WWE? And by the way, what's up? What's up, Slade? And yes, I did. We'll talk about that during. I didn't realize that until I came home a few hours ago, and then I heard about it. But yes, we will talk about it. I just want to bring this up because this is very telling. This is Visual Concepts, you know, the co-developers of this game. I read through the end. So basically, they're just answering fans' question. Keep in mind, this is August. The game came out in November, October for last gen, which we'll get into. But the game came out in November. So let's see what fans asked as a question and what was their response. First question: are we going to get more available in ring? Are we going to get more people available in ring at the same time in the Royal Rumble? So that's what they're asking. The answer to this question is 1080p 60 frames per second. That's the best way to sum it up. They basically avoided the question. Same thing with call mode. They're basically, the answer to that question was explaining how there was a lot of downloads in the PS3 and Xbox 360, and they have some new surprise for the community for PS4 and Xbox One. Oh boy, was a surprise. All right, they didn't lie about that part. Is showcase mode or next gen, or is just last gen because the creative superstar mode or next gen? And it's available for all versions, which they did not lie about. So this was the only truth to that. What improvements have been made to universe mode? Will we see more characteristics drawn from other modes such as GM mode? They basically did not answer the question. And various editions of Raw and SmackDown featured guests. Will any of them be featured? No. Will we be able to give our custom superstars a custom song in PS4 version? They just pretty much avoided that question. How hard was it to bring 2K15 to next gen, and how many hours of motion capture? Oh, we're going to get into this part. There's actually, so unfortunately I can't show you guys because copyright, but they actually have this is one of the first and only games in the series that they have a video diary of making of the game. So it's not like they did not try with this game by any means. They did try, but we're just gonna see the final result of that. Do you like 2K15 or 16 mode? The showcase, I like 15 more. Is that because my issue with Stone Cold Showcase, even though it's the best single focused superstar, I feel like the best way to move about Showcase is the same way they did it with Attitude Era mode in 30 years WrestleMania. It has to be a variety of superstars or focus on a certain era. That's why, for all intents and purposes, I kind of enjoyed the 2K25 showcase because it wasn't just focused on Roman Reigns. So that's why I will always prefer 2K15 showcase, and 2K16 is the next best one because it just featured Stone Cold. I prefer 13. Yeah, like I prefer an era focused on. There's so much history in WWE. You don't have to focus on a single superstar, because when you do that, you box yourself in, like the current games. CM Punk, unfortunately. Rey Mysterio is a perfect example when you box yourself in a corner like that. You miss his biggest moments because, unfortunately, for reasons unknown, you didn't have Kurt Angle in it. Like, what? We'll get to that eventually. We'll be able to fight in the crowd or go backstage. They just avoided that question. What improvements? You're getting the idea. Hopefully, I'm not bored. We're almost done. There's a reason why I'm doing this. It leads right into our next part. What improvements have been made to the cage match in Hell in a Cell? I would want to have weapons in Cell like tables. We didn't get to that point yet. We'll eventually get there, but not in this game. Is the Royal Rumble or Battle Royal gameplay going to have anything new or different? They avoided the question. And will there be multiple attires for most superstars? The answer to that question is kind of, but we'll see. So basically, most of this was avoiding the question. If you look at the date, this was in August 21st. You two recommended me your series. That's great. Well, first of all, I think this is the first time seeing you here. So BLE733, thanks for stopping by. I guess since you said it's a series, you already know what it's about. Quick spill, the 25 years for WWE games of how we got to 2K26. Right now we're on 2K15, so appreciate you stopping by. The Hall of Pain DLC was fire. I have all the showcase DLC, so we're actually just like the other one. We're gonna play one match for me just to showcase it to you guys, how good it was. And luckily I can actually showcase them. I know it's in the name because there's no slingshot technology. They're not showing real footage, so I can actually show you how it's presented. But the reason why I showed all this, as we're gonna get into 2K15, the first game officially under 2K. As I already told you yesterday with 2K14, even though it's 2K in name, that was basically THQ's final game that Yuke's developed. Speaking of Yuke's, 2K actually enlisted the help of Yuke, so they were still developing the games. However, as you saw in that interview, that wasn't Yuke's being developed. That was the newest co-developers, Visual Concepts. Visual Concepts is obviously known for working on the NBA series. So bringing that technology to the WWE game series was going to basically help them. We would think it would help. Visual Concept and Yuke, now for the first time, there's two developers working on the WWE game instead of just Yuke's. So you thought that would be a good thing. And for all intents and purposes, there's some good parts in. Good come with the bad. We'll later find out with 2K20 what more of the bad parts were. But for right now, for as far as we know, this is a good thing that two developers are working on it. The Graphical powers from Visual Concepts and Yuke's, who are basically known for their wrestling games that they've been making all these years. They put John Cena on the cover of 2K15 and 20. He's the GOAT for a reason. He's a GOAT. I mean, I think 2K purposely chose John Cena because he just wanted the most famous person they had on the roster for their first game. Obviously, it had to be John Cena. It just made perfect sense. Luckily, in hindsight, they didn't put CM Punk because he left the company before the game came out. So they were kind of screwed in that one. But with 2K15, we had the release for the first time on next gen, Xbox One and PS4. THQ made all my favorite wrestling games. For a lot of us, they did. Again, basically my top 5 games all pretty much come from THQ. What are your top 5, Mike? And first of all, thanks for stopping by. I missed your first question. I actually like the old arcade style games more than simulation style. This is the first game to feature simulation style, and personally, I was a fan. Again, I am all for innovation. I'm all for innovation. Even if it feels different at first, that's why I like 2008. It's different. It feels different. I want a game I could come back to and play it. 2K15 makes me come back and play it. 2K16 makes me come back and play it. And then we'll get to the other ones. But that's my point. Oh, and Michael, yeah, I did. I knew you were here, but I only read your message without saying you were here, but I appreciate you stopping by. Yep, CM Punk's last appearance, the Great Khali model was the best because they made him finally look realistic. But focus. The Xbox One and PS4, the first games on the next-gen systems. So they were going to look graphically different. However, this is also the first time since SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, where depending on which system that you bought it from, you get a different experience because 2K15 also came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Now, why was this the reason? What was the reason for them doing that? I wish I could tell you. I didn't see the reason for them releasing a last gen, but in hindsight is 2020, that it was actually a good thing. The graphical difference we'll see in a moment, but also I would like to point out this game was the first time since WWF Raw in 2002 to be released on Windows, PC, Steam. You get the idea. It was for the money. Well, yeah, that too, the install base at the time, but you think they'll focus their attention on next gen. I'm only pointing out Steam. This is pretty much going to be the only time, at least in the 2K part, I'm going to point out Steam, because we're going to get to the PC side eventually in the next era of the WWE games after Ukes leaves. We're going to get to that. Steam actually plays a very important story, the underlying story in the ending of our 25-day event. They play, actually, they're the spoilers, if you foreshadowing, they are the center point of the finale of our 25-day event, the PC version. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but there's a story to this. So just want to mention the first game since Raw for 2002 to be on PC. Just to show you the graphical, my favorite showcase is playing as Rey Mysterio. Damn, again, I like the Rey Mysterio one, Sarah, but the issue is there's just, you don't even really play as him because the way they did it was so stupid. The stupid slingshot technology. Again, concept, okay, execution, terrible. Yes, people call it the X-Bone, I know. No Mercy. Oh, so your top 5 is No Mercy, SmackDown. Yeah, what is everyone's top 5? I would like to know. So yours is No Mercy. Again, I don't personally have an attachment to No Mercy. One of these days we'll play it on stream. Like, I'm gonna give it objectively a good chance. SmackDown 2, yeah, Here Comes the Pain. They Are Reckoning 2. I know, one of those sleeper hits on GameCube, which I personally enjoy. I prefer the first one over the second one, to be honest with you. SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 and 7. I had to pick between the two. I'm more so going with 7, just because of the GM mode. And of course, WWE 13, if it wasn't for the 2 count glitch, I'll be aware. But here's an example of how it looked on next gen, which is the focus will be on for this presentation. Yes, I have the Xbox One version. I never had the Xbox 360 and PS3. I'm thinking of buying it, and maybe one day on stream we can play it just to really see the difference. I know there's a lot of differences, which we will go over, but I've never personally touched it. We all had a jailbroken 360 at the time in Iraq. The disc copy was damn. I mean, I don't blame you then. I do not blame you then, Mustafa. Here comes yours is BLE is Here Comes the Pain, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Pretty much everyone's top 5 you usually include Here Comes the Pain in 07. TNA Impact, I played the demo of it. I never personally played it myself. SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, also a great game. All-Star, I enjoyed All-Stars. Again, if 2K wants to make a side game that has that type of content, and then they want to throw in My Faction Island in that part, I'll be all for it. So it doesn't have to be in the main game. I still need to play Japan. I'd never played what is it? Fire Pro Wrestling. Maybe you guys want to see that on stream. I don't know if there's, I mean, I didn't think you guys would be interested in that. Yours is SmackDown vs. Raw 2. Your slate is SmackDown 07, as I said. 07, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, again, 12 for me if that universe mode is untouched. And 13, again, I like 13 for the Attitude Era mode. All Stars was awesome. Yes, it was. And I guess, I was gonna, so since I'm already on this screen, I was gonna save this until near the end, but I guess since I'm already on this screen, we can't really talk about this game without addressing the elephant in the room. Unlike SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, where it actually affected the game's development, this particular incident only affected the post-development. And of course, we are referring to Hulk Hogan. Now, Hulk Hogan said some interesting words that was revealed. So he said some things that came out on a tape, and because of that, they basically Chris Benoit him. The only difference is Chris Benoit is dead and Hulk Hogan's not. So they pretty much pretend like he just did not exist, even though he's alive. Any mention of Hulk Hogan, they made him disappear. And just again, I'm just gonna say it. I personally was never affected by it. I really didn't care about what he. Oh wow, Thanks, BLE. I appreciate the super chat. I was not expecting that. Was there a message? Did I miss something? What just happened? Wow, thanks. I didn't mean to remove my message. Oh wow. Well, I mean, what did it? I have no words. Thank you for that. I've never received a super chat before. This is the first time I've received a super chat before. I've actually had a loss for words. Thanks, BLE. Damn, I didn't think. Wow, I have no words. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. I wish I could read the message. Hopefully, just rewrite it so I can see it. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. Oh shit, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Hogan. I obviously, you can see my skin complexion. I was the skin color of who he was referring to during those recorded conversations. But personally, I never cared about what he said. I never had an issue with Hulk Hogan. I never had an issue with Hulk Hogan. And I never cared about what he said because for two reasons. One, it's not like he said it to me, so why would I care? And two, I hate this idea of cancel culture. So what do I mean? Again, this has nothing to do with video game, but I just had to bring this up because it's part of 2K15. Just have to bring it up. The idea that you could use something that was from years ago and now affects your current day, it just doesn't sit right to me, especially if you're not that person from years ago. The recording came out in July 2015, but that recording was from June of 2007. So almost a decade ago. They're using something from this man that he said a decade ago. If he said it the day before or a month before, sure, whatever. But using something from a decade ago just doesn't sit right with me. Because like, I mean, I don't know how old you guys were. I grew up in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 days. Those lobbies. We know what was said in those lobbies, those blackout lobbies. Imagine if that was used from me 10 years later. Everyone's lives would be ruined. Like, that's my point. I just don't like the idea of using something that was said 10 years ago to affect your current life. Again, that's just me. Again, I never had an issue with Hulk Hogan. I think he's a funny guy. If it wasn't for him, there would be no wrestling. I wouldn't be talking about wrestling was for Hulk Hogan. But it's just like, that never sat right with me personally. But just had to bring it up because it does affect 2K15. I didn't mean to remove. You said Brian Williams in a 2020 interview after he left 2K initially talked about how he tried to get a Goldberg showcase. That probably would have been a licensing nightmare since a lot of those people would have been contracted to from WCW, so he probably had to make that work. For 2K50, that probably been a contracting nightmare. But luckily, he came in 2K17. What is your favorite 2K cover star? For 2K specifically, Sarah, I'm not gonna lie, this current CM Punk one is great, but I personally think again, this is why I hate, why are there no covers? Actual real covers. The 2K23 John Cena one, the Ultimate Edition one. No, the one with the United States title. I think that is peak art. I like beautiful art done for John Cena, but it's not a real cover. So it's like, what the hell are we doing, people? Makes no sense. Mustafa, he was angry. People are saying a bad word about people like me for decades, and I don't. But he was angry. People are saying a bad word about people like me for decades, and I don't care. It's like, again, I just, for you guys watching, I was going to say up front, so you guys probably know who you're talking to. I'm not the type of person who has my whole personality defined by my skin color. Yes, I'm aware I'm black, but I don't care. I'm just a person. I'm a person who likes wrestling. Who cares? Like, I don't define my whole life by my skin color. Yes, what he said was wrong, of course. But at the end of the day, again, I just don't like the idea of using something that was said a decade ago to ruin your life. Especially if he's not that same person. Everyone's different a decade ago. People change. But that's just been my whole biggest issue with it. But yeah, I know it just had to be brought up because of this game. So how did it affect 2K15? Well, they removed him. they unfortunately removed Hulk Hogan for the first time ever. This is the first time in WWE games history where they actually removed content from the game after it came out. One of the negatives of being able to update your game. So basically in July, had you not bought the Hogan DLC, which was part of the Ultimate Edition, Hulkamania Edition anyway, had you not bought it by July 15th, you had zero access to him. There was only one workaround you could have with Hulk Hogan, was getting the Path of the Warrior DLC. That was the only workaround. which is, I mean, it wasn't the accurate Hulk Hogan, the NWO or the regular Hulk Hogan in the game, but that's the only way you could actually play as Hulk Hogan from the Path of the Warrior DLC. I need to stop buying digital games. I mean, no, but it just affected any, I mean, even though the Hulkamania, I mean, sure, I don't, actually, that's a good question. The Hulkamania dish, which we'll look over a little bit later, if you had that code, would you be able to use it? Has anyone tried? I don't know. Is there any record of that on the internet where someone tried to use the code for Hogan and did it actually go through? I don't know. But yeah, that was the only way you were able to get it. Another way you were able to get it is the 2K15 that on the for the PC, because at this time the PC versions came out later. And because they came out later, it had the full edition. So all the DLC that came out in the Hogan, what you call it, it all was in this edition. So you were actually able, if you bought this, again, all before July 15th, if you had that PC version, you had Hulk Hogan in the game. So that was basically your only way after July, by buying the PC version. Because they couldn't retroactively take him out of the PC version since it's by default in the game. So after July 2015, if you did not buy 2K15, you were screwed out of Hulk Hogan from the game. So luckily I had it day one and we were good to go. Server for DLC would be going. So that's what I'm saying. That's a good question. So here's the thing about that. I bought a new Xbox One and the DLC was still there. I know it's on my profile. So it's like, I get what you're saying. I just don't know. Had you bought the Hulkamania edition after July of 2015, assuming it was still available, would that still be the case? The world may never know. But yeah. But enough talking. Let's talk about the game itself. I think the best way to showcase this game, before we get to the showcase, because we actually had to talk about essentially the gameplay itself. This thing is way too loud. Sorry about that. This game is way too loud in my ear. Hopefully it's not too loud for you guys. It's just the menu music. So we're going to showcase it with some actual, just showing you the jumping graphics from the PS4 and Xbox One to the PS4 and Xbox One compared to the Xbox 360 and PS3 are now going because of licensing issues. You're right, but let's see. Do I still have mine? Hopefully. Let's see. Downloaded. So I got Big Show, Christian, Colonel. Please tell me Hogan still. He should still. Yeah, see, I still got Hogan. So there's that. And this is the Hogan Path of the Warrior I was talking about. So that was the only way you were going to able to get him, because they couldn't take him out of the Path of the Warrior DLC. So that was basically the only way you were going to be able to play as Hogan if you wanted to. But to showcase how 2K 15 was presented, we're going to use John Cena. Where are you, Randy Orton? And Randy Orton. We're just going to select the raw read, because I think, again, I really have to show you guys how this game looked compared to a year. I will give 2K credit. They achieved this in a year. Remember, they wanted an extra year. Slow Chemical Kane. Yes. Thanks to 2000, we have 2002 Kane in here. I think this is the only game, the last game to have 2002 Kane, right? Which sucks. I always loved Ruthless Aggression's Kane look before he took off the mask. I wish they would have him. I wish they would add him back. Is he he's probably some stupid My Faction persona, to be honest with you. Which sucks if he is. But like, look at the I mean, when I played this for the first time on Xbox One, right, and he's talking.
I feel lucky.
Look at this.
I feel great.
Just
it's time to go to work.
Presentation-wise, like even the trailer that came out with this game, it looked incredible. But then you play the game and it's like, well, it's an acquired taste. I know people prefer the last gen version, can play exactly like 2K14, but again, I'm all for innovation. I respect developers going full simulation, just like NBA. They wanted to replicate it in the wrestling games, and I respect them for that. I love the 2011 love in this game. Oh yeah, again, Christian, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. The One More Chance DLC, and they need to bring back that type of DLC because it gives them the showcase DLC they need to bring back, but that would require them to put in effort. And we know they're not going to do that, unfortunately, without Ukes. Again, I mean, it's almost as if one part of development focused on the actual making of the game, and the other people are just taking credit for it. We'll get to that with 2K20 as it becomes blatantly obvious. But again, I just wanted to showcase Randy Orton before we actually get into the nitty-gritty of the gameplay. When you guys first played 2K15, what was the first match that you guys booted up? If I remember correctly, I did Undertaker and Brock Lesnar in Hell in a Cell. Just as the first match, I just wanted to see how it looked. And again, it looked great. I had to get used to the controls, but I distinctly remembered it. And even the lighting, I feel like the lighting in this game is top notch. Cause like, even like, you see how like the lighting is reflecting off of the actual camera itself is so crazy. Extreme Rules Match 2015. They do remember who? By any chance, Michael? It's just everything about the lighting. Remember in that picture I showed you with John Cena, everyone loved that picture when it first came out. It looked so legit, but all right. And yes, this was still a loading screen, but this would be the last game to have loading screens for entrances. In terms of a black screen. So right off the bat, the first thing is the chain wrestling. Yes, for those who are familiar with it, coming back in 2K25, this was the first game that had it. Because again, they want to do a full simulation. And Randy Orton's killing me. Big Show and Triple H. Who won that match? Were you? And yes, I will admit the game is slower, but I personally did not have a problem with it. I feel like the fluidness of it too is good. You were Triple H. Like, it just feels like a realistic approach. I know 2K16 made a tad bit more quicker, which was perfectly fine, but I genuinely did not have a problem with the presentation of 2K15 for next gen. I think it's just a case of, again, people liked 2K14 and rightfully so, but then I guess they just wanted to play it again for the next year's game. But nah, again, I want to be able to go back to these games and have a different experience, and 2K15 and 16 offers that. There's a reason to go back and play those games. And I feel like the camera work on here as well. It has the panning of the camera from the ring and at just enough of the angle of it zoomed out where you can see, like, you see, like it's not like this in the current games, like how zoomed out is. I feel like it has enough. Well, that was wrong. I feel like it has enough zoom out space where it feels right for a video game. It's just something about the fluidness of this game. It is something. It's a slow, yes, but that's how matches are. I did like the Stone Cold. Yeah, again, the Stone Cold showcase is arguably probably the best single player showcase that 2K's done. They told the whole career from beginning to end of Stone Cold. And it's just the problem with the current games. And they were able to achieve that because his career was over. When you do stuff like Rey Mysterio, John Cena at the time, and CM Punk, because their careers aren't over, it just feels like it's incomplete. Yes, Kane is a Persona card with his slow chemical, but his entrance motion is used from 2K. Of course they didn't try. This is what I'm talking about. Like, of course they didn't try. But no, I think you mentioned the New Day. So what are your thoughts about the New Day? So I'm actually shocked. I know we were talking about releases for the past couple days due to this event. The New Day. I wasn't expecting it. It came out of nowhere. But again, upon reading the report, it's not like WWE actually let them go. What happened was they were going to renegotiate the contract because they felt like they were paying them too much. New Day say, okay, we're just going to leave. And they left. I feel like people are blowing out of proportion like they fired them. No, it's just they looked at what they were pulling in. And I mean, do I agree with it? I personally think they should have. I feel like they're one of those it's like I feel like the New Day in a sense is in the R-Truth position, and at the time Dolph Ziggler position. They're like one of those legacy people that are just there. But I guess they felt the money just wasn't worth it. And yes, I'm so glad they brought it back in the current games. I'm so glad they brought the tired finishers back. I don't think so. They put a Vin Diesel face on Mike Tyson. He told, well, yeah, that's the one negative, but still, because that was more of a licensing issue. But overall, they pretty much told Stone Cold's story. I think without Kurt Angle's, I think the only part that was missing was just Kurt Angle's portion of Stone Cold's career, and obviously Owen Hart. But Owen Hart was supposed to be in the game, but Martha Hart was no, you can't have him in the game. Owen Hart was going to be in 2K16 because you can't really tell the Stone Cold story without Owen Hart, but the best tag team they had. I mean, yes, rightfully so. And as I said, I feel like what they were getting paid, but again, I don't run TKO. They see stuff that I don't see, so I feel like it just they need to be there. I guess they feel as though they can move on from that tag team. I mean, obviously the tag team, I'm not going to lie, the tag team division at its current state is in a questionable spot. Also, Eric Rowan signed a new deal. He did? Eric Rowan, Wyatt 6. Did that came out today? That's actually brand news to me. Why is no one talking about that? Like, did it like just happen? Because I was unaware of that. And then this finisher. But yeah, just the... Oh, also, yes, the replay right after the fact is so good, too. Even though I know it was in the last game, but the way they did it, talk about a downgrade. Again, I like 2K15 Next Gen. I never played the last gen. I feel like it was 2K14. There was no point. I like the presentation. Like, I'm not saying that just to be different. I genuinely liked it. Now we're about to get into the negatives about it, but I purposely just wanted to play the match because I just wanted to show everyone this is how it looked in 2014. And honestly, it still holds up. He signed a new deal with WWE. Yes, why is no one talking about that? Hold up, as this is going, let me see. I mean, I believe you, but why is no one talking about that? That's so weird. If he did, I mean, I believe you. I guess I'll look it up later. But yes, John Cena. Again, it looks great. Like, honestly, they captured for their first time Raw. It looks accurate. Best ever look. But then that's where we kind of fall downhill. So I only specifically showed you guys the one-on-one match. Yeah, it looks realistic. And they still hold up today. But I only purposely specifically showed you guys the one-on-one match because that's where things get interesting. So they're wondering why no one really talked about, like, 2K wasn't really showing much at all. Well, because once people got their hands on the game, once it came out, people noticed something. They noticed a lot. So they cut a lot of content, and this is basically the biggest issue with 2K15. Next gen and last gen, but we're gonna get to that. Here is everything that got removed from the next gen version of 2K15, and this is basically the biggest contention point of this game. Create a diva. So yes, you cannot create a diva in this game. The divas roster is what you got. You can't do anything. Create a title, which is create a championship. So yep, it's only the titles that are in this game, which are mostly just the current day titles. Create arena. Yes, you cannot create an arena. Despite the fact that they've been evolving it for the past 3 years, they completely took it out. Custom themed. Yes, even if you were on Xbox One, they removed it where you are not allowed to upload your own music. Which, to be fair, I think this was at the stage where the people were hammering down on the licensing thing. So I don't think they removed it because they couldn't handle it. I think they removed it because of how music was, because Apple Music, Spotify was all blowing up at this point. So people just throwing in their music for the sake of it. They didn't like that. So that is the only one I understood why they took out. It wasn't because they couldn't achieve it, but it is what it is. All custom entrances other than the guy talking on the phone is completely gone, and only roster member entrances. So you had to copy someone else's entrance for your creative superstar. Creative finisher, completely gone, and it never came back. So 2K14 is the last game up until now. No creative finisher, and same thing with creative story. They never brought it back. Edit superstar threads. So like, again, changing their what you call it, it now takes up a call slot. So if you wanted to, at this time, obviously the Shield was completely outdated. You know, Roman Reigns was, even though at least Roman Reigns kind of looked the same. Then you had Dean Ambrose now just wearing a white beater and jeans, and then Seth Rollins with the Authority. They were completely outdated. So if you were to update them, they take a call slot, unfortunately. And speaking of call slots, 75 less calls. So yes, only 25 call slots. So good luck trying to make your WCW or ECW universe modes at the time, or even TNA. And unable to change the color wrestler's face paint, even with the added superstar thing. So they were stuck with it. Less legends, even though they kind of remedied that with the DLC, the Warriors DLC, and like some DLC. So that's kind of true. But basically, the legends that were in the previous game. So like Bret Hart gone, Scott Hall gone, Goldberg, and then current day superstars like Alicia Fox and Heath Slater, who were still on the roster. They weren't released. That got taken out. Had to buy the 25 DLC to get the current roster for Paige. Yes, they locked her behind the season pass, which we'll get to DLC later, as well as JBO should have been in the roster as well and not DLC. That's what happened. And the biggest thing as well, just to cut content, match types. I remember there being a 2K15 last gen face paint removal glitch due to a new legacy video. If you can link that, I would have no problem showing it if you can link it. Yeah, no, I know who those guys are. They're funny people. I know who they are. I believe I allow links in here, so if you could link it, I'll have no problem seeing what you're talking about. I don't know if that means you're leaving, Sarah. If you are, I appreciate you stopping by. Always appreciate you already being like the first one here. So in terms of cut matches, so 101, there's no more Inferno. It finally got brought back in 2K26. Ladder, yes, you cannot have a I'm not making this up. You cannot have a 101 ladder match. I know that sounds crazy, but apparently you could not. I'm going to double check that though. I don't know if that's accurate. I believe you can have a TLC, but maybe not ladder. I'm going to double check that in a second. I Quit, completely gone, did not come back until 2K26. Keep in mind this game came out in 2014. So over 12 years, we did not have an I Quit or Inferno match in the game. Absolutely insane. 2 out of 3 falls. I believe they brought it back in the next game. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it was under Match Creator. Moving forward, special guest referee. Yet it was in showcase mode. Go figure. That did not come back until 2K24. Casket did not come back into 2K24. 3 Stages of Hell just came back in 2K26, and Backstage Brawl did not come back until 2K17. For 2v2, tornado tags are basically, oh, where are they going? I don't know. Extreme rules, you cannot have a tornado ladder. You cannot have a 2-on-2 Hell in a Cell, a ladder, steel cage, table, TLC, elimination tornado, elimination table, mix, and backstage brawl. Triple threat, falls count anywhere going, 2 out of 3 falls. No DQ ladder, steel cage, TLC, backstage brawl, they're all going. Fatal 4-way, Battle Royal, Hell in a Cell, you're getting the idea. And the 6-man, they removed the elimination tag and the championship scramble, even though it's technically a 5-man, but I understand why they put it there. And we have never got the championship scramble back. I know they don't do it in WWE anymore, but you know what they also don't do? But they brought it back, the Inferno match. Just bring it back. It's literally a simple match type. We have 5-man matches in the game, so it's like there's no reason why they can't bring it back. And then handicap matches. All handicap matches are literally gone. And the reactions, I think, tell you yourself when it came out. Because yes, the next gen version was delayed by a month. And we were wondering why that was. Because that was the biggest problem. When they delayed the next gen version, we thought we really didn't know. They never told us this. The current version came out in October, and it had the match types that it was supposed to have, even though it was the last gen version. There was some stuff removed, but it was like the match types were all there. But the next gen version came out, it's like, what the hell happened? So yeah, and just to see if that's accurate, yeah, there's no, as you can see right here, there is no, even if I remove my webcam, there's no 1-on-1 ladder match. Absolutely insane. As much as I want story mode back, unfortunately WWE doesn't want it back, even though 2K proposed different versions all the time. Because I know I did read about that. Well, first of all, Bean, I think it's your first time here. Appreciate you stopping by. I don't know if you've been watching behind the scenes, but this is quick spill. A 25-day event. We're going through the history of how we got to 2K26. So every day so far, what day are we on, people? I forgot. I lost count of time at this. I lost track of time. So we're currently on 2K15. New X League, man, they call Steve with the video call. Okay, I'll look it up in a little bit. I used to love this game as a kid, but as an adult, I hate how they removed damn near everything. Why they remove creative female? It's just, I have a tinfoil hat theory, which I'll talk about near the end of the stream. I have a tinfoil hat theory as to why they did it, because well, Well, first of all, I appreciate you subscribing, Beans on Toast. Thank you. But yes, they removed everything. Day 16. I appreciate you, Slate, keeping up. I have lost track. I know this ends either on the 10th or the 11th. Actually, I can tell you guys right now. Give me a second. Why am I keep guessing that? This event ends, for those who are wondering, because this ain't going to go on. Nothing lasts forever in this world. This event officially ends unless I get sick or something. I've been doing this every day for the past 16 days. This event ends on the 11th of May. So the day after is Backlash is on Saturday or Sunday? I don't know. But it's going to be on a Monday. Also, career mode was not, and we're going to talk about that. They removed special guest referee and Infinity Finisher. I know, I don't understand why they removed the Infinity Finisher. It was so much fun. They went to an arcade direction 2K22. Why couldn't they bring it back? No idea. One thing I truly miss to this day, ability to add custom. Because, I mean, unfortunately, Chungus, I appreciate you stopping by. I think your first time here. You already heard my spill, I would imagine, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I've relieved the issue with Titantron music. Damn, there's so many new people here. I appreciate it, God. I didn't think 2K15 was that interesting for people to show up, but thanks. I think the issue with custom music is it's just more of a licensing deal. This was at the time where Apple Music, Spotify, the streaming platform pretty much had a hold on music, and they did not want their stuff being like outside of that control. So any other player playing their music that wasn't licensed out officially, they had a problem with that because they weren't getting paid digitally of it. So that's why they put a block on it. I think that it will never come back. It will never come back. One thing I do miss about older games is how you can properly interrupt top rope moves and connect with your own move. And feature that basically doesn't exist anymore. You know what also existed back in the old games? CFN. I think your first time here, appreciate you. The ability to do regular moves off of the elimination chamber instead of a super splash. And the steel cage, like, you know, you could do your finisher, like the 5-star frog splash off the top of the cell pod. What the hell happened to that? I don't know. And it's slow, but here's the thing, King. I know it's slower. In 2K16, they did speed it up a bit to make it the perfect flow. I will still defend this because, again, I appreciate the effort of being different. There's a reason to go back to this game. So I would always appreciate that. And what's up, Ahmed? Appreciate you stopping by. We rip songs with CD discs. I know, but they can't stop all of us. But they can stop multi-billion-dollar companies because they can sue them. But that's the reason why they're not going to bring it back. So it's not just 2K. They'll never bring it back for that reason. I like the affinity finishers, and they should bring it back. We can't do finishers through tables anymore. Again, it's like, as I said, we're going to get to 2K25, the finale. Everything, this pass, so just to let you guys know, from 2K15 to 2K25, there's going to be an underlying story arc that I'm going to be talking about. And it's going to conclude in 2K25. I already started it by mentioning it on PC, for it being on PC. That's the underlying story that I want you to remember as we go through these years. It's the small stuff that matters. And no, and you're right. But speaking of, again, while they're doing a lot of stuff wrong, for this game, they did something right, which is the showcase, which we're going to showcase right now. I know I said showcase like 3 times at this point. This is arguably the best. Not only this is the best decision that 2K did for these games, this is arguably the best to this day, the best showcase that they did in this entire series. Because in current days, they either focus on the superstar, but 2K25 was the only one they focused on the family. And we're not going to talk about 2K24. We will not talk about 2K24 yet unless we absolutely have to. This is the only one that I wish they will bring back, the rivalries, because automatically you're not going to get bored of it. You're going to be playing from 2 different perspectives. So you're going to see what happens on the other person's side, what they were doing. Because that's why I like this, because like they focused on John Cena and CM Punk, but we also saw what CM Punk was doing on the sidelines as well as John Cena. While John Cena was focused on Alberto Del Rio, CM Punk was focused on Triple H. Stuff like that. Same thing with best friends, bitter enemies. And I liked it because, like, again, we don't get a lot of ruthless aggression stuff, but when we do, like this, when is the next time we're ever going to have Survivor Series 2002 in the game, right? When the next time we're ever going to have Kane 2002 in the game? This is stuff I'm talking about. And Armageddon, for God's sakes. Showcase sucks now. They put no work into it because, well, they only brought back the cutscene, but realistically, those cutscenes don't mean anything. And 2K Showcase was amazing. And yes, I do have them. One more match, my GOAT Christian. Even though I will never forget Randy Orton by beating him 2 days later on the Tate SmackDown, the Hall of Pain, and the Path of the Warrior. So we're gonna play. Unfortunately, we can only play the first matches, unless we could play this one if you guys want to see it, or the John Cena. You know, the meme that John Cena buried. I mean, it's not really me in reality of the situation. He basically was Umaga in the showcase. He was in the 2K25 showcase. They were picking up weapons from the crowd and creating a finish, and they should bring it back. Like little stuff like that, they will bring the. It's literally, we don't ask for much. Oh, you know what? All I'm asking for, I'm probably asking for the most. I just want them to bring back the story system from WWE 12 Universe mode. That's all I want. Everything else I don't care less about. Just bring that back. I'll be a happy camper. I'll never complain about anything. Money Bank 2011, we're going with that. Before we do that, difficulty normal, subtitles on, entrance on, blood off, and we are good. So we won't get content ID'd. Well, 1 second, because I can't skip it yet because it takes a minute. So I'm going to tell you guys when I can skip it. For showcase, there was a delay, so just 1 second. Having actual rivalries would be interesting again, and would intrigue players to want to play it versus and focus. Like again, there's so many rivalries off the top of my head that they can still currently do. You know, for example, or just not even rivalries, a story arc. You know what the perfect story arc they could have capitalized on that second it ended? The Bloodline story. They had 4 years worth of content, but it ended. That's my point. Like, you know how many like stuff like that, or even Undertaker versus Kane throughout the years. The never-ending John Cena reign. And they still had Bobby Lashley. You could have added that, like John Cena's whole 365 days as champion. Stuff like that. If they had a focus, where's the rest of the matches? Creator, haven't seen you since the ECW Punk video. You're not the only person that said that, but it's like I appreciate you stopping. Where the rest of the match for some reason. So one thing about when you transfer a console, they don't save it. So okay, we're good. We are good now. They don't save it. Hi, Space Ghost. I think they removed Creative Store. Yep, they did. So unfortunately, I don't have my original Xbox One console from like 2014. I bought this like 2 years ago. So the outside of you unlocking DLC, your actual story progress and stuff is not saved. So unfortunately, I have to redo it. So hey, if you guys are interested, maybe down the line of us completing showcase on stream and just reminiscing about the good old times, I might do it. Of course, we can only, I guess, we only play the first matches of each of the showcase. Yes, oh my God, I get goosebumps watching this match. The entrance alone, like this crowd was absolutely insane. I watched this match from beginning to end. Like this crowd was absolutely insane. Literally. It was so good. And like, I think it was better because this was unfortunately the last time we got this Fire's Burn. CM Punk I'm so glad he's back. This is so poetic. I mean, it holds a special place in my heart. This is the last time we heard this Fire's Burn officially as his entrance from Kill Switch Engage. Like it was so perfect. And again, accurate as well. They have John Cena's accurate entrance. He just walked, like stuff like little details like it. Again, this I could tell the difference between one developer doing it and the other. This was Yuke's again. I have a tinfoil hat theory. Yuke's pretty much just made the games. Visual Concepts just made the graphics. But in terms of them, the core gameplay, it was all Yuke's. Because like little detail, like this is exactly what John Cena did. Just straight up walked. He did not. Little stuff like this mattered. You don't get this in the current game. They'll still use the same goddamn entrance, except for like their WrestleMania entrances, and just go from there. They don't care. This is the reason why I played. Like the story was so good. Yes, we know Punk wasn't leaving in real life, but at that moment, at that night, I thought he was leaving at midnight. Now in terms of the titles, I mean, the title actually looks amazing. It's just again too goddamn bright, but the actual detail of the title looks absolutely incredible. Probably most realistic looking title in the game. It looks better than the current game. It's just the lighting of it is just terrible, but they always look accurate. It was cool seeing Punk use his Ring of Honor theme wrestling. Yeah. Again, the Roman and CM Punk match. I know people for some reason hated this WrestleManias, but no one can deny Night 2's main event was absolutely amazing for CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I played this on Xbox 360 and I had a fun time. A lot of people say this game was trash. Well, correction. People, when they say the game's trash, they're referring to the next gen version. This one. This is what they're saying is trash. I personally did not think it was trash. It was different. And yes, the cut content sucks, but where it excelled at Showcase and where it, I liked it, where it didn't excel at MyCareer, which we will get into. Yeah, unfortunately. This is one of the best WrestleMania main events. Yeah, it was. Arguably, it's up there with me. Last year, Roman, Seth, and Punk was good as well for me, but I completely missed that. I completely missed that one. And like, again, like the quickness in it, everything just flows well. I mean, it flows well in 2K26 and 5 as well, but like, again, for a game that came out in 2014, this was fine. I just like the movement of this game personally. MyCareer, know who got NXT. Unfortunately, it's not in the next gen version of the game. I missed his 2K15 entrance. Crazy how so many different models in 26, but they're saying because they don't care. That's my point. CFN, they just do not care. They know, again, that's why I said it's quite clear who was making the game and who was like funding the publishing. Like, because for those who don't know, Visual Concepts is owned by that's their in-house development team. Visual Concepts. I mean, 2K, that's essentially their in-house development team. Yuke's obviously they like contract out to make the games. They were allowing him to still make the games for as long as they were. 2K owns Visual Concept, so it's like they're basically they go hand in hand. It's like, but Ukes clearly were, when they cared, they put effort into these games. They don't. The current games, as I said, the best way to describe them, it's not a wrestling game. It has wrestlers in it, but it's not a wrestling game. It's a game that just so happens to have wrestlers in it, but it's far from it. Like, the fighting stances freaking kill me. We're in 2026. What the hell is going on with that? Yeah, it has a new roster. We're still using 2K14 engine. I'm going to buy it. You know what? I know people talk about the game. I'm going to have to buy it. I'm going to buy 15, 16, and 17 eventually, if I can find one for a good price. But I ain't paying like $80 for people are scammers if they think I'm actually going to pay that. We don't see that move nowadays. Are you going to touch upon Battleground before servers shut down on the road to... I've never played that game. I'm never going to touch that game. It was a filler game. I don't consider that a part of the main series. I know that was the only game that came out in 2021, but I'm not touching it. Actually, it came out in 2020. My bad. I'm not touching it, though. It's not worth it, because that was essentially the start of... like, All-Stars, I would have touched it, but that's not the tale I was telling of this event. I have no problem playing All-Stars. Maybe for novelty's sake, I'll probably get a Battlegrounds if it's like $5 or something. But nah, I'm not. Look at the checklist, by the way. You see how it only tells you what you need to do when the time is right? It said critically damaged Cena. Critically damaged Cena, and then now it's telling me to get the signature when I had it. Simple stuff like that. I appreciate it. The grinding part of MyCareer is so bad. Sometimes it glitches. It sucks. 16, they put a tad bit more effort into it, but 15 was so disappointing. The way they sold it to me versus how it actually happened, it sucked. Yes, all this reversals. So good. So good. And you see how it just flowed from like... It just, for some reason, the graphics just work. I just don't know what it is. The graphics just work for me in this presentation of Showcase. Okay, it ends faster. MyCareer is better. No, 2K15 is not good, man. Personally, for me, my issue with 2K15 is that it was just a menu. There was nothing at stake, basically. It's just a menu go from point A to point B. 2K18 wasn't that bad when we were able to finally walk around. The best MyCareer, if we wouldn't even call it that, was 2K19, but it was a story. Is a slog when I played it. So fun fact, I never touched 2K16's MyCareer. I know it's about the Authority. I never actually touched it. I only played the Showcase and Universe mode. So tomorrow when I actually look at 2K16, that'll be the first time I ever touched MyCareer ever in 2K16. So that this is gonna be a first time for everything. 19's the best one because it was a story. That's my point. It's like, who knew a story, just having a regular focused story would be fine. All right, I gotta get Cena damaged. Holy hell, Cena. 19. Yeah, it's with the authority. Is there like an actual ending in 2K16's My Career? You can spoil it. I don't care. He is not letting up. I got hit my finisher so you get critically damaged. He is not letting up. And this is normal difficulty, mind you. All right. There we go. I only beat the NXT part. Apparently, can you stay in there? Every My Career until 2K19 basically sucked. I believe I just did the go to sleep. God damn it. The ending is the Hall of Fame. It was that bad, really. No, there's no ending. You just keep going forever to retire. Remember CM Punk vs. Rock Elimination Chamber? Yeah, it is in this game too, right? I'm not tripping. It is in this game. And I like how they ended on the 2013 Raw for Cena and Punk. It was a perfect ending because it was such a great match, the end of rivalry. So there's no ending in 2K16. That's absolutely hilarious. I guess there's good and bad. Why is he catching me? Well, it's going to be hard to perform the GTS when you just did a catching finisher. Where did he even get it from? Well, that's not good. I'm on a losing streak when it comes to these matches. I don't suck. I swear I don't. But we'll come back to whatever. We'll do one more and then we're gonna go to My Career because I want to make sure I have time to show it. Like I have no we can get to, so we'll just do one more. So which one you guys want to showcase next? You want to see next? Either Best Friends, Bitter Enemies, one more match, Hall of Pain, or the Path of the Warrior. One more match. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I could beat Alberto Del Rio. And I gotta. Yep. It's gonna take a minute, guys. One more match. Christian was my GOAT. Oh, okay. We'll do Hall of Pain next after we do My Career. BLE. I promise you. We gotta look at My Career. We have to look at it. I just want to make sure we have enough time. I mean, I could go as long as I want to, but I don't want to. I try to make these streams as long as they. Could I see the collection per chance? There's a collection. Are you talking about like the unlockables? I have no problem showing that. Is that what you mean? Okay, we're good now. Yes, Alberto Del Rio. It looks great. Again, everything looks great. Christian, oh my God, I was in tears when Christian finally won the World Heavyweight title. Beside, okay, I think you're talking about the mini. Okay. Oh, Universe Mode. Oh, you're talking about the story collection. I think you're talking about the story collections from Universe Mode. Oh, we were gonna look at Universe Mode too. One of arguably, even though again I hate the rivalry system, that was one of the best parts of Universe Mode. I think that's what you're talking about. So see, you and me, Space, we're on the same page. Oh, the game besides you, the game collection. You gotta reiterate what you mean. I gotta make the game collection. The game. Oh, in real life. Oh, I guess as Christian entrance is playing. My bad. I'm so dumb. This is just. I'm so dumb. My bad. I'm surprised you noticed that. So yes, 2K15, 2K14, 13. No, I'm so dumb. I didn't even think of this. 12. I gotta get a cover for. I gotta find a cover. I'm gonna find one on eBay for 12. I got the cover for SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. I have to have the cover. 2010. I got it, but I got to find the back cover. GameStop screwed me when I mass bought these. 2009. I gotta get the cover. I got Legends of WrestleMania. I got 2K17 on Xbox. I got 2K16. I got 2K20, guys. Yes, I got 2K20. Yeah, you wonder why I don't have 18 or 19. I own those digitally, so I don't have cases for those. And yes, I have Here Comes the Pain for PS2. I have my original copy. Somehow it still looks fine after all this time. Whoops. But yes, I still had that. TNA Christian, my favorite Christian. I mean, they made him as a star, as the star that he was always should have been. Favorite Christian run. I mean, his ECW run really made. I know it's gonna sound crazy. His ECW run for me was my favorite run because it treated him like the main character of the show, as he should have been. When he was on SmackDown again, yes, he had his World Heavyweight title run, and that rivalry with Randy Orton is still, to me, one of the best SmackDown rivalries. I know I'm biased, but in terms of match quality during the PG era, that was arguably the best match quality. 2K15 on 8th gen actually looks really good. Still holds up. Oh, what do you mean playing on it on like the PS5? 2K15. I unfortunately don't have a PS5. Crim Taker. First of all, thanks for stopping by. I wasn't expecting seeing you here. So, is Ricardo Rodriguez just levitating in air? Oh my god. I'm trying to defend 2K25 next gen. Do not do this to me, Carlos. I mean Ricardo. I said Carlos. Ricardo. I was thinking of the Mexican commentator for some reason. He's literally floating in midair. Do you guys see that live? Am I not seeing that? What is happening? What is he standing on? Is he standing on the ladder? I think that's what it's happening. He is throwing me off. Oh my god, I gotta see this with my own eyes. What is going on? What is he standing on? Yes, he's standing on the ladder. That's what it is. Okay, I thought he was actually levitating. I'm just gonna take that. I'm gonna hit you though. And now I'm gonna take this. And you know what's dumb? This is the crazy part. Remember they said there's no one-on-one ladder matches? But yeah, it's in the showcase. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. Here I am literally using a ladder. And I believe there's also one, if I remember correctly, in the isn't there a ladder match in the Best Friends Bitter Enemies? Wasn't there? I feel like it was. Oh wait, I got to critically damage. I have like jumped the shark. Oh, come on. All right. Nope. He just slapped him. That's crazy. Oh, come on. Damn it. What is your favorite memory of this game, Grim Taker, if you're still here? Nope. Same thing happens in an AEW game. You can't do triple threat ladder matches, but it's in the story. That makes so what the honest to God that really tells me is it's an oversight. Those are a perfect example of an oversight. Because there's no way you could tell me I could have a ladder match. And I know this is an actual ladder match because I can't pull out a table. I 100% assure you I cannot pull out a table. So this is clearly a oversight. It makes no sense. Well, then again, there's casket match in the story mode of Best Friend Bitter Enemies. But yet, there's also special guest referee. It's so frustrating. What were they thinking? I know what it was. I mean, I know what it is. Because I'm sure Showcase... Here's my tinfoil hat theory. And this is why I think that. Because both Showcase is in the next gen and last gen versions of this game, the reason why special guest referee and ladders are both... Because they programmed them both to be that way. But it's only specifically in this mode. Outside of it, for next gen, it just doesn't work. Since they basically both made them... I'm assuming they were both made the same way, just using different engines. The code of it was basically the same except for the engine part. So because of that, that's why ladder matches function as they should be in this game, despite it not being accessible outside of the showcase. I played the game on Latches. I never played on PS4. My favorite thing about the game's career mode video by Push Square. That shit sums up how my favorite thing about the game is the career mode video by Push Square. I experienced career mode myself. I've never seen a video about it, someone's take on MyCareer, but yeah, it sucks. It was, and you know what's crazy about it is, this was their biggest selling point for next gen. This was essentially sold it to you, first ever MyCareer, exclusively for next gen console, and it's like, what the hell, bro? Exclusively for next gen consoles, and they blew it. Alberto just he got me. He took both my finishers. Please tell me I took his. I reversed that. Come on. Please tell me I reversed that. Did I? Nope. God damn it. But yeah. I know there's some tired animations back in the current games, but like stuff like that, that is so cool to me. Okay, it shows, again, the pacing of the matches the further you go in. It should be slowed down. How is he not critically damaged yet? I need to get a chip. Damn, I'm weak. I forgot, yes, the stamina system is still in this part. There we go. Grapple him. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, at least the ladder was still somewhat in place. That's weird. The audio of the DL of Cole and JR talking is here, but it wasn't in John Cena and CM Punk. That tells me that the DLC showcases operate on a different thing entirely. For some reason, which I don't remember, I beat CM Punk showcase on this. As you can see, I probably could never done that. I think I did play Best Friends Bitter Enemies on hard, but I definitely, there's no way I did it on Legends. I think Edge should be coming. Yep. And Edge looks like, what the hell is that? What the? I guess the second he got retired, they stopped trying to scan him. Because what the hell is that? It's like certain people look like who they are, but it's like they did not. You know what's crazy though? They had Edge interview for the one more match. They did not scan Edge. Unless Edge is that ugly in real life. Hey. And yes, I was bawling my eyes out when Christian finally did it. Yes. World Heavyweight Champion. And then they played in my face on SmackDown and they just took it away from me. Damn you, Randy Orton. I don't care. Randy Orton was the heel in my opinion in that story. Both that matches were a pain. In this game, because thankfully, what was it, 2K18 or 17, they finally, one of the good points about those games that they finally updated the multi-match where, you know, they roll out the ring. I always appreciate stuff like that. Oh, wait, god damn it. I'm about to get content ID'd. I see them, I hear the song, even though the music should not be playing. That's so weird. Gotta mute it for a second, guys, but yes. Yes, so good. I know people debate about Just Close Your Eyes. I have no issue with the final rendition of it. I know people like the female voice one. It's great. Don't get me wrong. I like both equally. I never had an issue with his one that he came back with. So good. I just remember this. Like, this brings back memories from 2011. And 2 days later, it was taken away from me. God damn it. Damn you, Randy Orton. But yeah, sorry about that, Bean Toast. I did not understand what you meant by the collection. At least you're paying attention. This was so good. Again, 2011, arguably, I know people crap on the PG era, but think about what 2011 did. Christian's reign, the year of the summer of Punk, Mark Henry become World Heavyweight Champion. Like, 2011 was crazy for WWE. So good. And that was during the PG era. That's what I said, like, the rivalry between Randy Orton and Christian is arguably like the best quality rivalry just in ring. Because the rivalry was so simple. Christian just keep wanting one more match. It was as simple as that. And then he eventually turned heel because again, they both. That's why I like it so much because it's just dynamic. They were both faces essentially, and then Christian, because he kept wanting it, he slowly started turning into a bad guy, which they're recapping right here. Unfortunately, we're not going to be playing it. We're going to do Hall of Pain next, but we're going to have to look at MyCareer. Like simple stuff like this. The rivalry was so simple, but yet it was so good at the same time. We're going to have to go to the menu. So yeah, the main selling point of this game was essentially, so 2K Showcase was essentially on both systems, but for those who have next gen systems, MyCareer was the main selling point of this, because you take your creative superstar, you go through the calendar, become champion. Sound great on paper, but boy oh boy. Will, what's up? I have never seen you before in chat, so thank you for stopping by. If you don't know what this is, 25-day journey to see how we got to 2K26. We're currently on 2K15. We're about to look at the MyCareer. Have any memories of 2K15? Either next gen, saw your popular videos. Oh, well, I appreciate it. Well, I have many popular videos. Are you referring to my last long form video or my shorts? There's some people who came here through shorts. And we're gonna start a new one. I completely forgot how this MyCareer even started. Hey, just saw this. My recommend. Where is people coming from? I appreciate you guys stopping by. Where are you guys coming from? Yeah, I had this one for 12 hours and I just called it a day. So we're gonna start a new one though. I guess I could import, but we're not gonna do that. The 2K series videos. 2K series videos. I didn't get 2K26 yet. Well, I was referring to this game for 2K15, but thank you for stopping by. I am Mo Fu Kin Kang. You're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce that. I played every single wrestling video game ever existed aside from 2K26. Is there a reason why you didn't buy it? I mean, I know a lot of people hate. I mean, my personal gripe with 2K26 is essentially my personal gripe with the whole 2K direction in general. They're focused on the wrong things. Gameplay wise, it's the best we're ever gonna get. Personally, I'm not gonna waste my time going through this. We're just gonna give him the most generic outfit possible. I don't know, this, whatever. And he can be bald. I don't watch wrestling anymore. It's the same game. We're only a few games away where I can officially say it's the same game coming out every year. We're just a few games away from that. We're just gonna have a bald guy. We're just gonna see how this initially starts. That's all I want to showcase. I mean, I finished Showcase, then spend time with community creations more than playing. No, I get it. People have a certain way of playing. It's just, Mr. Person, man, where are you guys coming from? I appreciate it. I mean, thanks YouTube for recommending them to stream. I guess they have something to watch on a week. I appreciate all you new faces here. We're 16 days in, according to Slade, so appreciate you telling me that, man. There's new people showing up. As I said, when I originally started this event, I didn't think no one was going to watch me. I thought I was going to be talking to myself for 25 days, but that ended up not being the case. I appreciate you guys stopping by. I thought this was interesting enough to click.
My name is Bill DeMott, and I'm the head trainer of NXT.
I didn't buy 2K26 either. Don't like the pass at all. Hope another AEW game happens.
One day of open tryouts.
As I said, AEW was basically, that was the last game to force 2K to do something different. And since that game failed, I didn't want it to fail personally. I honestly wanted it to be alternative so they could get their head out their ass. And you saw with 2K24, they actually moved the needle a little. But second they realized that game failed, right back to business, people. Right back to business.
We only care what you show us when the
give us the bare minimum.
And at this very moment.
So with little effort and a lot of microtransactions. Chat, just in case you didn't hear. Hi, Mr. Person, man. No, I heard you.
Let's go.
And man, I appreciate the super. I don't even know what to say, guys. You guys, this is the first thing I've ever gotten super chats before in my life, so I appreciate it. Thank you. I definitely saw your chat, and man, thank you for stopping by. Do you like 2K15? Yes, Baron Blade. This is the origin of Baron Blade, where he started right here. I had 2K25 on PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, and PC. Well, I think you mean Xbox Series X and PS5. It definitely did not come out on PS3, Xbox 360, 2K25.
This is your dream? Work for it.
I think you meant 2K15 though. I think that's what you meant. The Fallout 4 DLC campaign. I think that's what you meant. I don't want AEW be in teenage situations with their games. Have you ever played the DS one? What was it? Cross the Line for TNA, the DS one? I never played it. I heard it was semi good. Well, here's your second ever super chat. Well, actually, you technically be the third. Thank you. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Thank you, guys. I did not think. I really had no expectations of doing this event of anyone showing up, and now here we are 16 days later. Thank you. I knew it was going to be worth it. I knew I was hopefully going to bring something different to the community, and I'm glad you guys think that. So thank you for even stopping. You stopping by, I appreciate it. Just having this conversation. I picked up 2K26 either. I've been quite broke recently, so I've been waiting for a solid. You know what? And I understand what you're saying, Mo Kang. Because hopefully I'm pronouncing your name. Can you tell me how to pronounce your name? I'll make sure I pronounce your name right. By charging $150 for a collector's edition, right? And it's like the bare minimum. Half of those superstars essentially have the same entrances for their alternate tires, and they're basically stuff that was in previous games of these iterations of those superstars. It's like it's not worth it. The battle pass could be good in theory, but the execution's off because for some reason 2K has this weird idea that people want my faction and my island stuff in the battle pass, and it's like, no, imagine you just put the alternate tires in there. Again, they have such an easy W for having good graces with the community, and they just don't take it for some reason. Imagine they were all personas in the battle pass. People would have no problem doing it. But it's like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I love Kelly Kelly. I actually am a huge fan of Demolition, but I'm not going to grind out the battle pass just to get their my faction stuff, which in a game mode I never play anyway. 2K16,
Look,
yes.
things got a little crazy out there.
Well, we're going to get to 2K22 with my faction, yes. We're going to get to that because when I asked, there's a simple question I want to ask. Who asked for that mode? And I have proof that no one asked for that. Once we get to 2K22. I still remember my first WWE 2K15 game during it was Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt. I'm so glad the presentation of Bray Wyatt in this game, they knocked it out of the park. Knocked it out of the park. I cannot speak for Bray Wyatt. They just had to throw salt in the wound right there. Defeat Undertaker at WrestleMania. I will never forget it. Hold up. I didn't realize I could personally like Super Chat, so I'm gonna like yours as well, BLE. I appreciate you. Where was I? I still remember yes. I played TNA Mobile, PSP, and DS Port. So how were those games? Christian is in a cutscene in a DS game, but isn't playable. Well, I guess because at that point he already came back to WWE, so that's probably the reason why. Kelly must come back. She was the face of the Divas. Well, she's back in the current game, but I'm just saying I'm not gonna grind it out for my faction parts I'm never gonna play. So yeah. So yeah, essentially that's we're not playing anything. God forbid we are not playing this mode. I just want to show you certain stuff. Oh, I can't skip the tutorials. This is so stupid. I just want to show you how this mode looked and why it sucked. And then we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna look at universe mode, and then if we have some time after I go over some other stuff, we're gonna do the Hall of Pain showcase and just showcase some other stuff. I do this bull crap. I love 2K15. It's absolutely a hidden gem. People again, they hate the next. I understand the hate because it's different, but again, I will always be a advocate for innovation because there's a reason why to go back and play these games. Like, people hate 2008, but it's one of my favorite games. Why? It's different. I know you might hate the fighting styles, but it's different, and that's why I like different. Again, 2K, they treat these games like the NBA series, and it's not. They have to understand, wrestling is not sports. I know it's sports entertainment, yes, but it's not sports. It's fake. I know. I use the forbidden word. It's fake. It's not real. Meaning you don't have to treat it as real. Make it different. Like, you don't have to keep making the same games with just a simple roster update. That's not what it's about. But yeah, I just basically want to show you guys this. So essentially this was the new subscriber. Oh, thank you, Will G. Appreciate it. I just want to show you. So essentially this was the extent of MyCareer. You go through this social media hub. It's not any different from my rise in the current games now that I think about it. You go through once you get out of the PC, you're gonna basically go through the ranks. You start at superstars, even though no one ever does that. My bad. You start at NXT, If you win the NXT title, great. If you don't, doesn't matter. You eventually go to Superstars, and you go to main event. Then you go to SmackDown and Raw. You have some storylines in between. They're all the same. No one has this. No one is. They're basically very linear. Everyone's going to experience the same type of story mode. So that's another issue with this. There could have been so many options of branching past for everyone's player experience to be different, but they didn't do that at all. Again, if you're gonna try to do something, go all the way. If don't, just don't do it at all. Don't half-ass it. So then people are gonna criticize them for it. And then when you finally win the WWE title, you have one more match after that, and then you retire. I wish I was making that up. That is the extent of my career. So this was essentially the biggest selling point of the next gen game, and it was a complete. It sucked. It sucked. The TNA DS game was fine and unique for each story. I think it was this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you guys had time to look it up. I believe the TNA DS game were the same people who made the DS games for 2009 and 10 and 8. So check that, which is probably why I think it was good. 2K25, 2K Showcase, the worst one ever. I don't like. I mean, I out of all the recent showcases, I have no problem with that one because you played as a different superstar. It was, again, my issue with current showcases, except for Stone Cold, because his career was complete. Again, it's like, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never played a NBA game a day in my life. The last basketball game I played was NBA, the street one on PS2. Someone remind me of what that game is. I've never played a basketball game a day in my life. I know it's crazy based on my skin color. Stereotypes, I know. But I've never played a basketball game a day in my life except for the one on PS2 when it was like the outside court 3 versus 3 one. At my dad's house. So I believe there's showcases on people who retired, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like Michael Jordan or something. I don't know how their showcases are. Or I'm assuming that's the route they go. It was NBA Street Ball. Okay, that was the one I played on PS2. Outside of that, I don't know how NBA worked, but I'm assuming they're adapting a lot of stuff from NBA over here. Like the My City is the My Island. And My Island blows my mind because it has nothing to do with wrestling. I just can't. And where I talk about 2K25 just frustrates the hell out of me. Where was I in chat? Wrestling is a weekly TV show. Exactly. It's like NBA, all the other sports take an off season. Wrestling does not. It's like you don't have to play by putting WWE games in the same branch as NBA. You're boxing yourself in for the repetitiveness of these games, and that's the problem. It stands out with how different it is gameplay wise, like the weapons, physics combined. Like again, as I always said, there's a reason to go back and play these games, except for 2009, which I went over. And it's not 2009's fault. It just got the curse of being a yearly cycle, 2009. There's a reason to go back and play 2008. There's a reason to go back and play Here Comes the Pain. There's a reason to go back and play Shut Your Mouth. Why? Because that's the only game that has a draft in it, in story mode wise. That's my point. There's a reason to go back and play these games, but 2K does not understand that. They don't care about the longevity of these games. They just want to see how many idiots are going to buy $1,000 worth of JPEGs for the My Faction cards. That's all they care about. It's literally a copy of 2K20. Oh no, we're gonna get there. I will say this 2K25 is not a copy of 2K22 or 24, but we're only a few games away of what I consider carbon copies of one another. And it's not 2K16. I like my ride in 2K24. I prefer the 2K25 one just because they finally connected the stories. The issue with 2K24 and 2K23's My Rise, it just felt like a chore. It didn't feel like I was in a story, if that made sense. Even though they had stories, it didn't feel like I was in a story. I was completing missions to progress said story. 2K25's My Rise actually felt like a story that I can follow and it makes sense. Man, I'm looking for the old wrestling games because I'd rather deal with the old ones. Well, first of all, Izzy, I think it's your first time stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for getting to your comment. I'm trying to talk to everyone here. Let's get out of the screen. Essentially, my career sucked. Well, you're in the right spot. I'm trying to make my channel. So I've been trying to figure out the direction for my channel. I know it's kind of crazy. Trying to figure out what to do with my channel because I don't want to focus on the current games. I feel like everyone's doing that. I want to have a reason for you guys to come. And if I'm offering the same thing as everyone else, it kind of sucks. So I feel like my forte at the moment will be focusing on the past. I feel like it's a better alternative. I'm not saying I'm never going to touch 2K26, but at the moment, since the DLC isn't all out yet and they're still getting patches, There's no need to tell the story of 2K26 if the story is being written. That's why this event specifically, I purposely made it where, even though it's called How We Got to 2K26, we end at 2K25, because that's the whole point. How do we get to the current game? We have to see the history of all of it. How do we get to where we are now with microtransaction city? But that's enough time. You got this. Thanks, Quan. I appreciate you stopping by. I love Dan Bryan's 19 and women's 20. The 21's fine because, again, you have 4 different point of views. And it kind of almost brought it back to 2K15 levels, but no one really gave it a chance because the game was bugged and people don't give them second chances. Even though the game is in a play, honest to God, for those who have 2K20, which I do right here, now that we're speaking about it, gameplay-wise, it's fine when it works, but like no one gave it a chance. Everyone went back to 2K19. Only play the showcase though. Do not play MyCareer. That is the bottom of the barrel trash I've ever seen in my life. What New Day team gone? Yeah, we talked about it earlier, Will, but I'm wondering what your thought is. The New Day. I mean, it was a good run for them. So universe mode. I guess TKO really thought they weren't worth it anymore. I feel like the New Day, as I said, they're legacy people like R-Truth. They should just be there regardless. Unless they personally want to leave. In this case, New Day wanted to leave because of the pay. It is, you can't force people to be there. I know they kind of forced the New Day's hand, but I think, look, here's my thing. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm pocket watching their money. I think Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, regardless of what they're, it's not like these wrestlers. You guys got to remember something. I know I'm going a little rant. You guys got to remember something. It's not like these wrestlers are broke. They're not living paycheck to paycheck. They're getting paid more money to do less now than before. They're not even killing their bodies as much as they did back in the day. They're pretty much getting paid the same amount to do less work. So you have to look at it from a business side on that part. But then at the same time, the longevity of Kofi Kingston and Xavier was being there. I'm pretty sure they have enough money in the bank. But whatever this paycheck, whatever this little pay cut, well, I mean, I don't know how much the pay cut was going to be, was not going to affect them. They weren't going to lose their house. Like, come on, guys, let's be real here. These people are getting paid millions of dollars. 2K19 was SmackDown with the best realistic gameplay. Well, yeah, 2006 was close for what it was on the PS2, but 2K19, yes, still has the best simulated gameplay. But the reason why I want to show you guys universe mode for 2K15 real quick. Well, it didn't help matters that the lack of the depth that you can, because less matches. But there's one thing that this has over any other universe mode, because this is the only game that has it, is the story collection. So what is the story collection? Essentially, there are a bunch of stories that you can basically pick to be part of your show, instead of them just randomly playing out based on the intensity or whatever. This one you hand select. So for example, you can select this one, and then you can select personally, you can actually have a real life one, like what if versus John Cena. You can have that one play out. There's also a special one like historic rivalry. You can have the John Cena and CM Punk rivalry play out, for example. So if we do that, it just there, you have to have the right. I already played it. You're essentially going to have someone. John Cena has to be champion. These are basically the conditions. John Cena has to be champion. CM Punk has to be booed and the enemy of John Cena. You have to have these guest superstars so you can play them out. So again, they never had this before. The more you unlock, the more stories you can do. And there's so many stories in this mode that makes it replayable, despite the lack of roster. So even though I to this day will always hate this rivalry system because it screwed up everything, I appreciate what they did. So now your universe mode does feel different once you add in those stories. You said 2K plus TKO equals dead. I know people hate TKO. I mean, there's pros and cons when you get bought from another company. Obviously, WWE was their own thing before they got TKO. It's their rules, their money. I mean, it's their rules, their money. At the end of the day, either play ball or you don't. 2K lost you with the battle pass. Items were free since 2K17 shot to 2K20 because the battle pass is a extension off of my faction in the island. What do I mean? Because they saw those idiots. No offense to people who play my faction. Don't get me wrong. I get there's a reason to play that mode, and I talked to some people personally. I won't say who they are unless they want to. Other YouTubers who basically play my faction. For some, they play it for the competitiveness. Like, back in the games where like they had challenge modes and like SmackDown versus Raw 2007. That's why they play, because it's a challenge. And I respect that. But by people literally spending dollars on JPEGs, which I mean are cards, 2K realized, wait a minute. If they're willing to spend money on that crap and they're willing to spend money on cosmetics on the island, we can just now make even more money off the battle pass. Because they know, before that backlash, doggone well, Jeff Hardy was going to be tier 20 or tier 40. Tier 40 if they could really push it. They were going to make Jeff Hardy tier 40. And they knew people were going to spend that extra $80 to skip the tier 40 to get Jeff Hardy. They knew exactly what they were doing. Because they know people are going to spend thousands of dollars on freaking cards. For what? I don't know. I like the WWE My Faction Action Figure 2K20. Again, it's different and I respect it. I actually have the Cody Rhodes one too, Hulk Hogan and John Cena. Again, when it's different, I have no issue with it. And if it relates to wrestling, I have no issue with it. Borderlands, you're going to have to convince me why it's in the game. I couldn't tell you. Paige made Woods leave. I doubt that was the reason, Will. Come on. Don't say that. I doubt it. They took a picture together at WrestleMania. Come on. Don't be like that. But yeah, otherwise, just real quick. Basically, if you skip a year and don't do anything, it'll unlock more stories. So essentially what people tend to do, they just have it skip as many years as possible, unlock as many stories, and you just play through universe mode that way. So there's that. I love the mini games that 06 that never back. Well, they did add them back in 2K26 to a point. Like I said, 2K26 is, at this moment, regardless of the bugs or whatever, I feel like is the most complete wrestling game we're going to get at terms of the direction they're going to take it. There is some good stuff that there's 2K. I don't want to spoil the story of 2K25 when we get to the stream, like the point of the stream. But basically, there's like two conflicting battles going on with the WWE games. You have one group of people who just want to make the perfect wrestling game, and the other group of people that just want to get as much money as they can get from these fans as possible. And that's why we have the games that we currently have. You could tell like Brian Williams is a perfect example of someone who wants to make a good wrestling game, but his hands are tied when you have other people like who are those names? Cornell, Lionel Jinx, people who work on visual concept side. The main people on visual concepts, and they're pushing for microtransactions and whatnot. So it is what that's currently the state we're in the community. Yeah, the first time in here, but I was one of those NBA 2K players buying game after game. But the past 4 years, I'm just done with the rinse and repeat. You get it? I mean, no, NBA. So here's the thing. I understand, and same thing with, so the last Madden game I played fully was Madden 06. And then the last one I played officially like just played for a few was Madden 11. I understand the reason we're releasing a Madden game every year, because again, wrestling is not like sports. You're always gonna have the roster update with these sports games, so it makes absolute sense to release one every single year. Could they at least try to update some certain stuff about those games to make it at least replayable? Sure, but I can understand the need for that. Wrestling, they could take 2 years. Case in point, look at the jump from 2K20 to 2K20 years. I mean, 2K20 to 2K22. The jump in that, in 2 years, you saw what they could do. So imagine they had 2 years to go from 2K26 to 2K28. But they're not, because they want money, unfortunately. They're not going to do it. So the main event, imagine this, the main event of WrestleMania 30 is Cesaro versus Alberto Del Rio. Over John Cena and Triple H, over The Rock and Ryback, over CM Punk and Bray Wyatt, over The Undertaker and Randy Orton, and then we open with AJ Lee and Paige. Who's booking this show? You gotta love it. It is not even for the title. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love universe mode sometimes. This is what I miss. Oh my god. Oh my god. But yeah, that's basically universe mode. The creations. What creations? I mean, there was one new thing specifically for the next gen. Where was I? Guess Sol Ruka's age. I don't know. How old is Sol Ruka? She was like, what, 20? I'm pretty sure she's not probably past 25. Do you think they'll ever make My Rise online like how NBA... I don't know how NBA works. I feel like it'll be more fun if I can interact with other people, sure. Like they briefly did it from like 2K... What? I think 2K18 was the last one where you can import... Basically, you can import your star to another person's game and you will see them in MyCareer. I believe, I forgot which game. It was either 2K18 or 19 that did that. If they have stuff like that, I'll have no issue with my rise. Once the servers are going in NBA 2K, you can't play a story. Oh, that sucks. So never mind. I don't do that. Because we have that issue with my faction. We have that issue with my faction, so we can get Jeff Hardy on communication for free since there is paint and attire from 2K22 Creation Suite. But you know, people don't like doing. They want the official version. So there's always going to be a market for official. There's always going to be a market for official renditions of those superstars. So that's why, again, if they had it their way, Jeff Hardy would have been tier 40. Best believe they were going to be tier 40. So Ruka's 26, but her face looks older. Really? I knew she was young. I mean, a lot of those women from NXT right now are very young. I guess maybe, I don't know, something to do. I mean, what is she? Say gymnastics. Is she a swimmer? I don't know. She just probably does a lot of stuff that makes her look. I mean, when you stretch your body out like the way she does, it gets fatigued, and then you're gonna look older than what you actually are. What was that? Ryback's last game in 2K15. 2K16 is his last game, which will be going about tomorrow. So basically, no, I wanted a custom superstar. I said custom. Oh, I meant the regular superstar. Because there is one new thing that they added that essentially was the start of this. And, no, I meant to edit. God damn it. Yeah, there we go. And you can only edit Diva. So essentially, the one new thing that they added in this game was you can finally, for the first time, change superstars' attires. Before, so we'll just do, where's Seth? So like, obviously Seth was completely outdated. So this actually benefited a lot of people. Obviously Seth Rollins is completely outdated. The whole Shield except for Roman Reigns is completely outdated in this game. But thankfully, you can finally change their outfits. So you can change their clothing. You can so you can remove his you can remove that. And now he kind of just like that, even though I know those aren't his accurate pants, but right there, boom, he's now more accurate for the time for 2K, I mean for the year 2025. So yeah, just simple things like that. This game basically had most of WWE 13, 2K14's base roster entire. With the DLC, what a segue. I appreciate that, Will. What a segue. So we're going to take a quick detour because there's some stuff to go over. Like I said, if we have enough time, we're going to look at the Hall of Pain DLC. And we're going to look at some of the other DLC, but just a quick segue. 1 second. I like when we do those segues. We're gonna look at what was, because there's you would think, I know it's crazy because they cut content in this game. They also removed some stuff that what could have been, right? So we're gonna look at the cut content from 2K15. Outside of the obvious, there's actually some cut superstars and there's proof. So first things first, Trish Stratus. So Trish Stratus was supposed to be in this game. She ended up being 2K16. There's audio of Michael Cole saying Trish takes the cover. So she was at one point supposed to be in this game, but it didn't end up happening. It's right here, but I'm not going to play the audio. Sin Cara. Sin Cara was 100% supposed to be in this game. He was supposed to be part of the NXT DLC pack, which probably reason, I mean, I don't know what they were doing in that pack. When sometimes when you play as Connor and you win, it says Sin Cara wins, and yeah, it's just leftover data. My girl, yeah, she was supposed to be in it. Enzo Amore was also supposed to be in it. I can't play this because it has Randy Orton's music. He announces him as He announces him as Enzo Amore. Yes, it is 100% true. You can't see it; it's right here. He announced him as Enzo Amore. He was supposed to be in this game, but he ended up being 2K16. And Lana. Lana's actually in the game. It's because Sin Cara got released. The original Sin Cara got released. You're right, but the one that was in NXT with Kalisto. He was still there, but I think they were supposed to, so maybe you might have a point. Maybe they were supposed to use the original Sin Cara, but then he got released, so they used the one that was Hunico with Kalisto for 2K16. So you might have a point there, Mustafa, actually. And then Lana, so Lana's actually physically in the game. She's part of Rusev's entrance for this, but yeah, she's part of Rusev's entrance, but you can't access her. But there's data in there where she was supposed to be at ringside. And then when online existed, you could use her for a character profile. She has a whole character portrait and everything. So she was supposed to be playable, even though she never officially got playable until 2K19. I know that's crazy. And she never officially became a playable character until 2K19, I believe. I don't think she was in 2K18, but definitely 2K19 she became a playable character. I ended up finding WWE 2008 at a thrift store. How much did you pay for it? Again, how much I loved 2008, I actually own it both physically and digitally on the Xbox 360 when they released it at the time. Even Zack Ryder was in 2K15. A lot of, essentially all the jobbers, no offense, did not make the cut for this game. Essentially, they try to put, I guess, jumping from next, and again, this is the only, keep in mind, this game is very significant, right? $2, damn, that's a good deal. He was Primo in the Evo version, but then went back to Primo. Oh, okay, gotcha. Original Sin Cara was never released. No, I know. I meant the Sin Cara that they originally. The whole Sin Cara situation is so confusing. The original Sin Cara that came to WWE was not the original Sin Cara. It was another guy who made him. They made him Sin Cara Negro, and then they had that whole feud. Then Negro became Hunico, which was the actual original. And then it's a whole confusing thing. I know. Rhino was in the game. I was disappointed. Because he came back last minute. I know he was in the NXT part. I know it was just that he came back last minute, but at least they added him. A lot of people came back last minute, even though Rhino was in NXT at the time. But there's the cut contents, and for DLC for 2K15, you had the accelerator. Yes, unlocking everything used to cost money. It was $2. I think it still does cost some stuff just to unlock everything. But again, the showcase, one more match. You had the storyline, but then you had a bunch of new playable superstars in the arenas. We got Alberto Del Rio. So basically alternate attires. This was so if you want to pinpoint their fascination of alternate attires for superstars, the Attitude Era technically did it, but there was at least a viable excuse for that. Their factuation of just making full-fledged models as separate slots until now started with this game. So if you're wondering why, it started with this game. Primo was OG Sin Cara, then became Evil Sin Cara fighting the good. So that's what it was. The Evil one went back to his Epic and Primo tag team, which became Lucha Macho. No, Primo. I think you're mistaken. Primo and Epico. Primo and Epico were not Sin Cara, bro. Primo's related to Carlito. You're mistaking the people, but I know you got their accurate story, but you're mistaking the cast of characters there, Will. I know 2008 wasn't really 2008 is the most diverse game in the entire series. You either love it or you hate it. I love it. I am a 2008 apologist, as I like to call it. I have no issue with the game. Yes, the game essentially stopped production, so that's why 24/7 mode sucked, because they could never finish it because Chris Benoit screwed up everything. So they had their sole priority from that summer to end of the release is to remove every single aspect of Chris Benoit. So they never finished polishing the game. And that's why 24/7 mode is the way it is, because it just sucked. The fact that Raw 2008 sucks so bad. That's opinion, man. I personally liked it. Only has two good games. I like the original SmackDown versus Raw. I personally liked it. The story mode sucked, but I personally liked it, mainly because they're blasting the epic soundtrack. 07 and 06 were fine. Again, the issue with 09 is just not replayable anymore, in my personal opinion, thanks to 10. 10 was perfectly fine. And 11. You cannot say 10 or 11 are not good games. Pretty much every WWE game. No, man, that's where we have to disagree. I'm sorry. 05 does not suck, and definitely 2011 does not suck, man. That we got to disagree on that one, unfortunately. There's no way. 11 match ends after 1 minute. And I guess that's the way you play it. That's not true at all. That is definitely not true at all. First of all, I didn't have any major plans. That's not true. That's not true. You can tell he was supposed to. If you look at the way 24/7 mode is for ECW, he was supposed to. Especially with the ECW invasion, that's not true. He probably that's probably some PR example, but nah, that's not true. There's no way you can convince me that's not true. The way that ECW story mode played out, essentially CM Punk took the spot of Chris Benoit. That doesn't make any sense, because think about it in hindsight. When the game was being developed, Chris Benoit was on ECW, and he was supposed to face CM Punk for the ECW title. It was vacant at the time. You can tell Big Show and Paul were supposed to with Lashley and Dreamer. Yeah, but as I said, there was certain stuff that got cut. I mean, well, Big Show, because Big Show left in Realism. Like, there's a lot of messed up stuff that happened in 2008, but Chris Benoit was 100% supposed to be a part of it, of that story mode. You had the Hall of Pain showcase with these Big Show, Dan Bryan, Jey Uso, Kane, Mark Henry, Randy Orton, Ryback. Finally, an original superstar, the Great Khali. Yes, this was basically the only way to get Great Khali. It would be too late because of the WWE draft. In terms of what? Bobby Lashley part of it? This game makes me miss the Ultimate Warrior Hogan. Oh, speaking of that, the Path of the Warrior. I know, it's unfortunately, I mean, Warrior's passing will always be the most shocking thing to me. Like, he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, he had his speech on Raw, and then literally the next day he died. Like, when I woke up, I thought like someone was trolling, because, you know, people trolling the internet. I was like, there's no way he fucking died. And yes, he died. Colonel Mustafa, the General, Honky Tonk Man, first time in a while Honky Tonk Man is in any WWE game. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, even though he was literally in WWE 13. Rick Rude, which is a nice change of pace, which is funny. So the fact that they could have Rick Rude in this game, but not in 13, is actually hilarious. One of the few times you could get a 91 Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior. And then you had the NXT Arrival pack. Sin Cara was supposed to be in this pack, but instead you got Adam Rose, Emma. I do miss Emma. I was always a fan of Emma. They didn't give her a chance on the main roster at all, especially when she came back. JBL, I mean, I know JBL was like the GM at the time, and then the Ascension. Oh my god, I hate what they did the Ascension on the main roster. I'll never forgive them. They were so good at NXT. It's like the Ascension are a perfect example. Oh wait, I missed a lot. This game makes me miss the Ultimate Warrior and Hook. Yeah, game development for Benoit having anything with ECW side of the story. Yes, that's what I'm saying. The game was 24/7 was clearly effective because there's no cohesion, there's no coherent plot of anything, because they essentially stopped what they were doing because their sole focus was to just get rid of everything Chris Benoit to make sure it still came out when the game was to make sure it still came out in the fall. And they were going to delay that game because Chris Benoit, but they somehow a miracle had happened and they were able to complete it. But 24/7 was suffering because of that. How did Sammy make it in? How did Sammy make it in SmackDown World Title, but not RVD? You mean Sabu? I think you meant Sabu. Sabu got released 1 month before RVD. I guess because Sabu was integral in the story, as you saw. I don't. Certain people, I know. I guess because they were really pissed about RVD screwing. I mean, some of these cuts have to do with the actual WWE. It's not like THQ deliberately took him out. They were probably still mad at RVD because they kind of screwed up the whole ECW thing that they had going on. They had to cut that right off. They had to give Edge the title, and they had to give it to Big Show because RVD and Sabu. I know both RVD and Sabu both got suspended, but Sabu was less of a problem, so that's why they still didn't forget that. I know they were at Wrestle. What I'm saying is they're probably still mad at RVD. They're still probably peed off about that. I think Jordan is the only Iraqi wrestler in WWE history. Probably. Literally, I was rewatching WCW and WWF pay-per-view shows in the 90s, and most of the roster is dead. It's unfortunately some of them died young, but we're at that point, man. It's been almost 30 years since a lot of these people last wrestled. Emma needed a top guy boyfriend. She instead got Zack Ryder and Moss. I know. I mean, Triple H obviously was not a fan of him, so that's why he completely ignored him once he had creative control. RD was Jeff Hardy's winning the WWE title before Jeff even returned. I think Vince was really high on RVD. That's why he felt so disappointed. He was, again, look what RVG's career path went the second he got suspended. That's why I said, yeah, you can see his career path. Like, you could tell Vince really liked him. Then you had the New Moves pack and the WCW pack, speaking of double, with Bam Bam Bigelow, who makes his return again in 2K26 as DLC, once again, who would... Why keep remaking Legends DLC they're already in the previous game? Makes no goddamn sense. DDP, one of the only times you can play as Fit Finley from WCW, Lex Luger, and then also Lord Steven Regal was in this game. And then the Hogan pack, which if you did not buy it before July, you're screwed. Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, and Hulk Hogan, and you can't forget about Sting. Yes, Sting made his debut in the game before he actually debuted in the roster in WWE in real life at Survivor Series. Taking drug and playing while your top 8 champion is insane. JBL Hogan were free in 2K4. I that's what I said. Like, this was the start of what I mean. Like, they just reuse. And then yes, you had to get the whole. So the only way you could get Paige. The only way you were able to get Paige was the season pass. If you did not buy a season pass, you were not getting Paige. I mean, it's a good incentive. I'm not against that idea, but just basically, if you want to play it now, you don't have her, you're screwed. That was the only way to get Paige. So she was in NXT. Oh, we're going to get to 2K16. You know, there are glaring omissions in 2K16, which we're going to talk about, which plays a factor into my 2K17 stream. But speaking of roster, so again, this roster was gutted, completely gutted. But you have newcomers like Adrian Neville. Who else? Actually, why not click the new? So basically, all the new people in this game. Adrian Neville, a lot of NXT newcomers. Bill DeMott was not playable. He was manager. You have Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt, Cameron, because he was DLC. Corey Graves, the only time you can actually play as him officially. Curtis Axel for the first time. Eric Rowan, because the Wyatts are here. Goldust, he keeps coming in and back, in and out. He was in 13. They took him out of 14. The Usos, they took him out in 14, even though they were in 13 because of the Legends roster. Luke Harper, Naomi, even though she was an NPC and for Brodus Clay's entrance in 14 or 13, I believe. RVD, because he came back. Rusev, Sami Zayn, Tamina, even though was Tamina in 13? No, I think this is actually the first time I played as Tamina, actually. Tyson Kidd, because he took him out in 14 and 13. William Regal, Xavier Woods, which unfortunately he just got released. And then Zep Coulter was a manager. 17, 18, 19 had the best DLC wrestling game history. 18, again, no shame. We're gonna talk about 18's DLC. No shame. 2K has no shame. They know exactly what they did. You know, I wonder if you guys know what I'm talking about. 2K18's DLC. Karen was free in 2K14. I thought she was. No, I think you're mistaking her with Summer Rae. She was not in 2K14. Cameron was not. Xavier showed up to Paige the path to Wood. You're funny. But no, she was not. Cameron was not in 2K14. I would have known. I mean, we just played it yesterday. Had Shame also. Well, because half of those people were in the game free. I know. Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, and Michael Cole is questionable. DL is questionable. Batista was literally in the game the year before. That was questionable. It's just Vicky Guerrero, sure, whatever. It's like I like 12, but yeah, the DLC was lacking. But no, 2K18, they are so shameless. Refused to be a part of it. They could have made him do it as well, but yeah, luckily they put him in 13. So all is right in the world. And yes, for the first time since SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, we are back with the soundtrack. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I thought 2K15 soundtrack sucked at first. But this is one of those things where when you listen to it over and over again, okay, there's some bangers. I did not realize John Cena was good with Wiz Khalifa. So I actually have the 2K15 soundtrack downloaded on my Apple Music. I actually like all these songs from John Cena. Back in the day, I hated it. I turned that crap off. I was like, I'm not listening to this bullshit. Not having superstar music suck. Making Batista rock HTK, adding a female WrestleMania 27 host and adding Michael Cole is insane. I know. Is that Bill DeMott? Yeah, but he wasn't playable. And unfortunately, this was going to be the first and only time you see Bill DeMott because of his real life controversy. But this was, I mean, it was fine. Like, they had some good songs. One to stand out for me, where is it? Is again, Vince Seinfeld, This Means War, Heart of the Warrior. There were some good songs in there. Right, I'm always any Rise event songs, I'm all for it. This Is How We Roll. Like, there's some good songs in there. The John Cena, I mean, Come On Over. I don't remember Ghost that much. Bonfire, I stays in my head. But We Them Boys, All Day, and Breaks. Again, I did not even, because this is exclusive to the soundtrack. I listed Apple Music. Okay, why did they not have these in the game? I have no idea. These are actually very good songs. I just don't know why they didn't add them in there. Wild Ones, which is the WrestleMania 28 version. It's a fine soundtrack. Honestly, from this era, my favorite soundtrack probably is 2K20. I know that sounds crazy. 2K20 had a sleeper soundtrack, but no one gives it a chance. I'm going to point out some of the best songs on there for 2K20. I think they arguably had the best soundtrack in the entire series, even though everyone hates that game. It was my favorite themes in wrestling games. In terms of the soundtrack or the actual superstar music, 2K15 has some motivational themes with some cool, but wrestling fans hate it. That's why I said it was a required, like, I didn't like it back then, but I honestly got All Day and Breaks they're very good songs. Even with John Cena in it. I mean, with John Cena in it, they're very good songs. And like, again, looking at the list, it was fine. It was like I feel like, so here's the thing. This is why I always tell people. The difference between when THQ was doing the soundtracks for the games and when 2K did it, THQ curated the soundtrack for wrestling fans. They knew what wrestling fans were. They knew the songs they listened to. So they made songs appropriately. 2K, I feel like, and this is my opinion, I feel like they just look at the top 100 songs of Apple Music and Spotify and they just throw darts in the wall and see, okay, we'll pick that one, we'll pick that one. Yeah, they made popular pop media. That's my point. The difference between THQ and 2K. THQ, they picked songs specifically that wrestling fans would probably enjoy, and they hit all of them out the park. 2007 arguably is the best soundtrack in any wrestling game. Like I said, Ghost is, I mean, I don't think I listened to Ghost. I'm gonna have to re-listen to that one. Come On Over, I like that one. Bonfire, it's just, you hear it in your head. Bonfire, yeah, that. We Them Boys. And honestly, again, Avenged Seinfeld and Rise Against, I'm never against them being in the soundtrack. This Hyrule Warrior, and Hyrule Warrior is actually a good song too. It's just, I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. 2K15, but I still think 2K20, I know that sounds crazy. We done, yeah. Cena picked these songs, by the way. He did. Well, I mean, I had to question if he picked. Okay, now I respect him. If he actually picked these songs, he has some good taste with Rise Against and Avenged Sevenfold. He has some good taste then, so I respect him for it. Oh my! We're gonna. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could play the soundtracks of these games. I'll get copyrighted to hell. But yeah, it's 2K19. I feel like they put that song there on purpose. There's no. There's no way. But I think we got time. So who requested the Hall of Pain DLC? We're gonna play the first match of that. But like I said, 2K15, as I showcased, hopefully you guys understood for the stream for 2K15. Again, graphically, it was amazing. There's no one can deny the leap in a year. You have to give them credit. In a year time, they were able to achieve this graphical achievement for WWE games. But then the sacrifice was nothing is in this goddamn game. So, nope, can't do that. Sorry. We gotta wait a minute. And again, I just wish, you see, when we play stuff like this, I like 2K7. I don't remember the 2K17 soundtrack. I only remember, what is it, P. Diddy? Bad Boys for Life. I wonder what P. Diddy's doing nowadays. No one ever talks about him. I wonder what he's up to. I'm joking. I don't know what you guys think. But I don't actually remember that besides that from the trailer for 2K17. I thought there should have been in 2K15 cover like 2K14. Nah, not really. Because by the time this game came out, Dan Bryan, first of all, he was injured. You got to remember that. By the time this game came out, Dan Bryan was already injured and he vacated the title. Okay, I can finally skip it. Cool. I can finally skip it. I was just waiting for it to skip. It takes a minute for them to skip it. Wait, what did Mark Henry do? Here. I completely forgot. Oh, did he fight Big Show and break his leg here? I think that's when it started. And then he broke Kane's leg afterwards. Yep, I think it was here when he broke his leg. This was the start of the Hall of Pain. I completely forgot it was at Money in the Bank. I thought it was on a random SmackDown. Because I remember he broke Kane's leg on a SmackDown, which is why it's part of its DLC. But I believe it was Big Show here. Back then, we got like 5 4 showcases in 1 year for a new game engine. Now we get 15 matches for 40. Oh, we're going to get there. We are going to get to... I can't... Probably 2K24 is my most... 2K17 and 2K24 are probably like my most anticipated streams that we have left. I'm not saying that the rest of them aren't. He broke everyone's leg with his jump. Yeah, but now I remember, I was like, why is it Money in the Bank? I thought Big Show was on SmackDown. It was Kane that was on SmackDown and Great Khali, but Big Show was at Money in the Bank. That's what I forgot. Now that's some fireworks we don't see nowadays in the games. You don't see those fireworks anymore. In 2K, I really want Batista versus Triple H 2K24, WrestleMania 21, since it was missing 2K4. They could have too. That's the point. They could have. It's not like they couldn't. You know, they're in the game. Batista's in the game. Last time I checked, they could have done Triple H and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 25. There was so many options. They don't care. Again, 2K doesn't care. They don't care, and that's sad. I know. I don't know these developers personally. I just go off the work that they present to me when I have to pay $150 for their goddamn game, and they don't care. They don't make wrestling games. They make games that just so happen to have wrestlers in them. Is the best way I can describe the current state of games. Now, whether you like that or not is up to you. It is what it is. This is the best we're gonna get, unless either Ukes comes back and steer this ship. I just don't know. I mean, I give Ukes credit for trying with Fight Forever, but that didn't work out. So come back home, Ukes. That's all I can say. Just come back home. Big Show is not letting me do nothing. Did we even chain wrestle? I'm glad WWE now shows Hogan the respect he deserves. I was mad they banned him during 2K. I actually talked about that earlier, yeah. Again, I never had an issue with... I'm not saying what he said wasn't bad, don't get me wrong. But my issue with the whole situation is, again, two things. One, it's not like he said it to me. And two, so I don't know why anyone else would have cared if it's not even directed towards them. And two, my issue with it is why you're canceling someone from something he said over a decade ago. If he said it a day or a week, if he said like a day, a week, or a month when that got released, that's a completely different story. But using something that you said a decade ago against you in the current day, basically that means no matter how much good you do in your life, all it takes is for them to one thing from the past completely negates everything that you do in the present. So it's like, so no one can grow or change. Like that's what frustrated me with that. He just loved Brooks so much. If you followed him, you would know it. Well, I saw the Hogan Knows Best show. I remember that. But that's what I think. I don't think he's racist at all. I think Vince said it best. I don't think he's racist. He said racist stuff and he paid for it, yeah. But it's just one of those things where it's like, again, as I said, I think it's fair. Is it fair? I mean, I don't know any of you guys, but I think it's fair to say you guys have said some stuff when you were either, I mean, I don't know how old you guys were. We've all said stuff in private that you probably, if it was heard in public, people probably have a different thought process. They would probably try to cancel you. You got about put in public, i.e. Call of Duty lobbies back in 2009. But my point, the difference is I mean, in the grand scheme of things, compared to Hulk Hogan, we're just normal people. Effect to Hulk Hogan, he's famous. But if Hulk Hogan was a normal person who said that, no one would care. And that's like my biggest issue. But again, it's I don't like the idea of your whole life being ruined for something you said over a decade ago. I want you to put in perspective how long ago he said it. When he said it, right? Twitch did not exist. The iPhone just came out. And then all three next-gen consoles were now on the market. That's how long ago he said that. It's like a completely different world. And that's like time to induct Big Show in the Hall of Fame. Use free finisher to complete the final two. I'll try. As long as he doesn't reverse it, I'll try. He just got mad and lost himself. I mean, that's our current environment, but most people, it is what it is. I was never a fan of that. He also got, I know, and I guarantee those people regret. I mean, no, probably some of them don't, to be honest with you. The last time you saw Hulk Hogan on WWE TV, I'm pretty sure they regret it now. That's the thing. It's about respect. Without Hogan, we would not be sitting here talking about wrestling right now if it wasn't for him. But it is. I mean, you can't change people's mind. My here convinced change people's mind. I'm just telling you, I don't think they would like it if they were to use something that you said 10 years ago to pretty much decide how your life is going to be for the next years afterwards. Like, I don't think anyone would want that. So if it was for Hogan, I would not be playing this game right now. I probably would not be a wrestling fan if it wasn't for Hogan. Did I grow up with Hogan? No, but my point is, because what he did, we would not be wrestling fans if it wasn't for Hogan. So, yeah. And I like these cool little, again, this takes effort. I like these cool little things segue into the story. This like little stuff like this matters for me in the showcase. He created WWF in the 80s and then went to WCW. He became the bad guy and it changed the NW. If it wasn't for Hogan, again, that's another thing. If it wasn't for Hogan going to WCW, there would be no Attitude Era. Yeah, it would be no Attitude Era. They would have went out of business. Like, that's why well, actually, it's not like if it was for Hogan go. I know it's actually funny how that works. Hogan going to WCW made WCW almost put WWF out of business, but then that also made them the Attitude Era. So it's funny how stuff works out. But yeah, like I said, maybe I have an idea what I want to do with the channel moving forward, but that's after we get done with this event. But I haven't, especially after today with all these new faces. I think I'm getting somewhere here with this. I know that documentary is going to take forever to make. Here Comes the Pain documentary, but I don't like being away for 3 months at a time on my channel. I could be interacting with you guys, and obviously you guys care about this because you wouldn't be here, and I appreciate it. But yeah, so maybe we can come back and just talk and reminisce as we go through these showcases at another time. But 2K15, again, your experience may vary depending on which version you have. Obviously, I showcased the next gen because I'm only showcasing the one that 2K marketed on TV. They never showed an image on TV when it came to the last gen version. I wanted to show what they were proud of, which was the next gen version. Graphically, it was not touched at the time. The best looking WWE game of all time at that time. Bro, the object was Splash, not the world's strongest slam. Was it? Did I miss that? I was not paying attention with stuff. Now we're gonna have to go back and replay it. My bad. I was wondering why the cutscene showed him splashing instead of that. I was not paying attention. My bad. We're gonna make that right next time. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just saw 3 finishers and go for it. Jack Swagger versus Del Rio, Wrestling 29 for the world title. They were high on Del Rio. Again, Del Rio is one of those people where they gave him the world and he screwed it up. That's how I show how high they were on Del. For God's sakes, he fought Edge less than a year on the main roster. He was fighting for the world title. There was 2 people that WWE was pushing for, Sheamus and Del Rio, to be the future. Only Sheamus succeeded. Del Rio, he screwed up. Like, they were positioning him as basically the next Batista and John Cena. Honest to God, before the Shield showed up, I think the next Batista and John Cena and Randy Orton was going to be basically Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, but Alberto Del Rio screwed up. Ziggler. I mean, I love Ziggler to death. I was the biggest Ziggler mark, honest to God. And that's why it did hurt when he got released. But even Ziggler said himself, they're paying him $1 million where he basically is a mid-card. He was like the most highest paid mid-carder of all time. So I do agree with you. Well, he got concussed, to be fair. Ziggler got concussed, which screwed up his world title run. It's an interesting series. We would cover a bunch of details others would have known. Well, because I feel like BL, you brought up, this is why part of the reason I'm doing this, because I feel like I feel like the issue with the way the current community is on YouTube, the issue is not them focusing on the current game. The issue is that you guys hate the current game from the way y'all talk about it. I'm not saying you guys, the way these creators talk about, they hate the game, but then you're still playing it. You're still talking negatively about it, but then you're still making videos. If they're that bad, just showcase the other games. But I mean, that's not my play. It is what it is. I don't care about that. But concussed for like 2 weeks. But they screw. Again, they don't want another Chris Benoit in their hands. You have to understand. Well, they did not want another Chris Benoit in their hands. Anyone who gets concussed, even if it's mild, they do not play. They have an example. They have a historical example of why concussions they cannot fool around. I know it's not an injury, but 18 years. I know, but they don't play with that. You know they don't play with that because they have history of why that's a bad idea. But yeah, I feel like these games are good. They should be. I feel like my issue with the current community is that they just throw away these games the second a new one comes out. There's a reason to go back and play these games. These are good games. Some of them are, and they're just interesting to look at for novelty reasons as well. We're talking about Dolph Ziggler. Dude was every fight weekly, something crazy for, and never got injured. Brian got like 5 concussions, yet got everything because Brian was. Well, here's the key difference. Brian got over with the crowd in terms of like, again, Ziggler was over at times. Do not get me wrong, but he wasn't. There's a over between Dolph Ziggler over and Daniel Bryan over. Daniel Bryan probably sold tickets. Okay, let's be real. Will, come on, let's be real. Who's selling tickets, Daniel Bryan or Dolph Ziggler? Again, I love Dolph Ziggler. Do not get me wrong. Swagger's fault, not Ziggler. I know, but still, at the end of the day, Ziggler got the concussion. But let's be real though. Daniel Bryan selling tickets versus Dolph Ziggler. You can build a show. The second double turn during has happened to Austin and Ziggler. Yeah, it was Alberto Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler. I know it was basically a double turn. Alberto Del Rio was a face. I know people tend to forget Alberto Del Rio was a face when he got cashed in on with Ziggler, who was a heel, and then they literally flipped. Ziggler became a face at Alberto Del Rio because you couldn't ignore that crowd. He had could have been their main. But here's the thing, being their main guy, because Daniel Bryan willed himself to be in the main event. He was never supposed to be in the main event. He willed himself in it. And plus, circumstance. As we know, CM Punk quit the company. So Triple H had nothing to do at WrestleMania. So that it led himself wide open to that position. Ziggler, the thing was, again, Ziggler is he was a good wrestler. No mistaking about it. But again, who's selling out arenas? Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler. Like, let's be real. Come on. I love Ziggler to death, but even I'm a realist here. Only 2 had the double turn. It was Ziggler and Stone Cold himself. I know, but it just didn't work. I mean, at least Triple H respects him enough to bring him back for the John Cena tour. I'm just saying. At least you show Triple H has some respect for Dolph Ziggler. He brought him back for the John Cena retirement tour. I'm just saying. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He brought him and Zack Ryder back. At least Zack Ryder is back with the company. And that's why Vince buried him. Because he didn't get himself. Vince McMahon didn't put him over. Dolph Ziggler got over organically with the crowd, standing with Zack Ryder. But Daniel Bryan, the difference between Daniel Bryan and Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler is Daniel Bryan, he willed himself to the point that they could not be ignored. Zack Ryder, to a certain point, they could ignore it, and Dolph Ziggler, but they just couldn't ignore Daniel Bryan. He was overtaking everything. They just couldn't ignore it. Remember that title, Daniel Bryan, the eco-friendly WWE title, such a good title. Just remember the internet champion was in game, but not the internet champion was in the game, but not Zack Ryder. You talk about the internet title. It was in this game. That's funny. There's no way they have it in the game, but not Zack Ryder. That goes to show that you talk about 2K15, then that's absolutely hilarious. But all right, I don't want to hold you guys up. I appreciate this stream. Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I appreciate BLE. This is your first time here. And thank you for the earlier super chat. And thank you, Inman, for the $2 super chat. And thank you, BLE, for the for some reason I can't see super chat because it disappeared. For the I think it was a $5 super. I never got a super chat a day in my life. I didn't think I expected nothing from this event other than just trying to showcase the history of these games, but new people are showing up here every day. I guess I'm doing something right. I appreciate you guys so much. I knew eventually some people would understand what I was doing. And for those who are here, I appreciate it. I know I'm asking a lot for the next, because I've been doing this for 25 days. I don't expect everyone to be here for 25 days, but Slade's been here for basically the beginning, essentially, since I believe Here Comes the Pain or whatnot. So I appreciate you, Slade, and Mustafa as well, essentially. So thank you guys. So for people who's here live, BLE, Mustafa, Michael, I'm trying to remember everyone who's there. Ahmed was here, Slade, King was here, Sarah was here, Bean Santos, and thank you for subscribing earlier. CFN, already said Ahmed. Space Ghost 2009, Mike. A lot of new faces. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I get really. I know I said that a lot, but thanks. I don't know what else I could say but saying thanks. Bean, I already said you. Krim Tager, would expect you being here, and Will, and Mo Fu Kang. You got to tell me how to pronounce your name, man. And man, who's here earlier, appreciate you. And did I miss everyone? Quan. I'll make sure everyone I can see. And Izzy, Hot Boy, appreciate you being here. Thank you guys. So we talked about 2K26 is a scam. I don't. It's a microtransaction game. I'm not gonna disagree with you, that Mustafa. Darren Bryan was the most wrestler I was ever seen. For Darren Bryan again, yeah. I mean, that's why they couldn't ignore him. They couldn't ignore him. But as you saw with 2K15, that was the price to pay when you decide to go for next-gen graphics and simulation gameplay. But tomorrow, they actually apologized to us because they gave us a game that essentially everything that was not in 2K15, they put it back in 2K16. There's good and bad to that. And we're going to go over that tomorrow with 2K26. Essentially, the game that apologized to us fans. So thank you guys. I will see you tomorrow.